Is Islam true? Today I hang out with Apostate Prophet on Myth Vision podcast. Maybe we'll get some callers. Maybe we won't. Abdullah didn't get any calls. So we'll see what happens today. Welcome to Myth Vision, AP. How are you?
Good. How are you? Maybe you should change the title to speak. Oh, you did. Okay. Well,
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I just, fingers crossed we'll get a caller in
Yeah.
and everybody's peaceful, respectful. But before we do, I have been trying to compare my powers to some of these ancient prophets and divine workers and such. And tell me what you think, AP, about this.
Whoa.
Yeah, I split the moon. Did you notice?
I didn't notice that.
You didn't notice that?
No, I didn't.
It's
but now I get it because I was but it's good. It's definitely well done. It's definitely well. I think you are better than Muhammad anyway. But so am I.
Thank you.
Yeah. So am
I. Well, I kind of thought you thought that of yourself, but we won't get into the drama. What you really think about me on air? I think it'll be better to keep that private, right?
Yeah, it's better for you. Better for us to keep that. Yeah.
Hey, I want everybody to know, go subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to his YouTube channel, I highly recommend it. Apostate Prophet has continuous debates with this interesting character, Sheikh Yabudi. And I mean, it's a pretty intense debate that's been going on back and forth. I have to admit, Sheikh, his confidence level is much higher than yours. It's very difficult to know who wins in these debates.
Yeah, he is a problem. I don't really like the guy. He is a little bit of a problem. He beats me all the time. But
I kind of figured he did. And also, these particular, if you go to this Patreon, you want to help support Apostate Prophet from being beat by Sheikh Yabudi. I hear you have competing Patrons, but they link you to the same link. Either way, the point is if you go here, you can support what he's doing, because I love this. I love what you do and talking about these things. And I really.
By the way, I have to tell you something. In the intro, somebody's pointing it out here in the chat. But in the intro, when you said you split the moon,
yeah,
I didn't see that. I'm not a witness. I didn't see that because I was asleep.
I'm gonna solve this for you.
That's what happens.
This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do. Pay attention and tell me if you witnessed it.
Sorry, I fell asleep again. I missed it.
I knew you did. I knew it. It's those damn jinn. I'm telling you, they keep on doing this. You know what? Somebody do some incantations in the chat, because something is going on. I swear. Also, join my Patreon. Help us, man. I'm working right now. If it weren't for AP calling me 5 minutes before this live, I'm airing out our dirty laundry. If you did not call me 5 minutes ago, I swear this live wouldn't be on right now. I'm not making this up.
I'll be right back. Just a second.
Okay. What's up, everybody in the chat? So seriously, he called me 5 minutes ago, and I was like, hey, what's up, bro? I'm all like shooting the crap with him, and I'm sitting here editing this video that I did with James Tabor. Then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, so we ready to rock and roll? And I'm like, what are you talking about? We've rescheduled this twice, right? So I'm like, what are you talking about? And then you're like, bro, we go live in 5. And I'm like, oh my God, let's do it.
Yeah, I knew something was off, because normally I always receive messages from you way in advance. But now I checked my phone and there's nothing, and I thought, okay, I think he forgot it. So
you know what? I fell asleep.
That's good.
You're not the only one who falls asleep during important times,
That's good. According to a Muslim apologist, the whole world basically fell asleep when Muhammad split the moon, which is why nobody witnessed it, which is why we have no witnesses. So when I made the objection and said, hey, the moon splitting didn't happen, because if it had happened at that time, people would have witnessed it and would have made some reports of it, but there is no single source. And the guy said, the reason why we don't have heaps of evidence is because people were asleep at night, because it was at night, And It's just,
I've actually seen someone try to. There is a ridiculous video out there on YouTube. I'm not making this up, where there's a Muslim who said that scientists have proved that the moon has some crater-like split in it. Oh, the level, right, that they'll go. So they legit are trying to prove that scientifically there's some type of fracture or something. They're desperate to like have this be the thing. And the question is this something that they have to have? Is this something that like every Muslim has to believe? Or can most Muslims say, look, that's in later literature, we don't accept that. That doesn't have to be true.
well, there are actually a good number of Muslims who think that there is some disagreement about it, and they say we don't really know what it means, because the Quran says the moon has split and then the hour has come near, or something like that. That's all the Quran says. And then you look at further commentary, and according to the commentary, according to Muhammad's followers, Muhammad himself, people asked him for a miracle, and then he said, behold, and the moon split in two, and people witnessed this. That's what the reports say. If you don't want to trust those reports, then you have to throw a lot of different reports, out of the picture. So people choose to trust those reports and choose to then somehow explain how and why it happened and why we cannot prove it.
Right.
So and most Muslims agree with this point. Most Muslims agree that the reports about Muhammad and his time and his companions are authentic, and that we are supposed to believe in them. Of course, there are some Muslims, especially newer, more reformist, more spiritual Muslims, who say, well, maybe it wasn't a literal moon splitting. Maybe it was something different. Maybe it is something that will happen before the end of time. So, yeah.
Go figure. Yeah. Typically. So I enjoy asking you questions, because if I asked a particular Muslim that, they would come at it kind of like, no, we have to believe that, or they wouldn't be able to like go into the various different forms of it you've engaged with and encountered. You have a lot of experience in this in terms of encountering, but let me say for the record, you aren't an expert. I don't know why I have to say that, but I feel like I need to like let everyone know that I said that he's not an expert. He has experience, though. You've been engaging for a long time, but no, you're not an expert. And in case someone takes a step further, I'm not an expert either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
that's the thing. People want to somehow think that if I come out here and I speak about Islam and I analyze it for years, practice it for years, make up my opinions about it, I still keep studying it. I study it academically, but they think that in order to take my criticism or my opinion or the information that you take from me seriously, I have to be an expert. And of course, this expectation comes from people who want to believe in Islam and who want to defend it. But I said from the very beginning, I'm not an expert. I share I share what I know, and I share what I have experienced, and I pursue further education. And I would actually like to, have some academic achievements in these fields. And maybe in the future we will get rid of that excuse of the "you are not an expert" excuse. But for some reason, we still have to point this out every time, that we are not PhD holding people who have several degrees from all the greatest universities in the world, and we don't teach at 5 universities at the same time. So that needs to be said for all those who might misunderstand that.
It is quite interesting what you're pointing out. Like, it's unfalsifiable, the kind of position they end up holding at the end of the day, because if you find an expert like I have, and they aren't ontologically Muslim in any way, I won't name any names, because these are friends. These are people I've learned to gather insights that are only going to give me the facts, the data. They're not going to go beyond that. They're not interested in polemics. They're just interested in giving you the actual criteria and let me do whatever I'd like with that criteria. But it's about, educating myself. And it's like, are you drawing their conclusions? Like they're willing to admit some things, and you might say, well, that kind of looks like they've done some pretty decent preservation, that we see going on. But dot for dot, from literally the prophet's mouth, they admit, like, you can't. There's no way to even get that far. The prophet didn't even have a collection of the Quran. And in fact, some of the tradition says that he didn't even collect it. It was people after who had this idea. So this is, there's a big issue, but I'm like, why aren't we? So you'll listen to them if it supports, because you start with Islam is true. Islam is true. Therefore, who agrees with Islam and who is not a Muslim that still shows agreement, and then when they disagree, they're wrong there.
Yeah, there's an inherent presupposition. It's like you have to start from Islam is true, and then based on that, you will accept the knowledge that you will, accept or reject the knowledge that is offered to you. That is where you start out. And if you do that, I'm sorry, but it's just not a healthy way of pursuing knowledge. But let me tell you something, Derek.
Yeah.
As a as a Western European white person who has fair skin and
hold on, I got a complexion, bro. Don't hate on me, man.
And hair color and eye color that looks interesting. I would have to say, if you were to accept Islam today, nobody would care about whether you are an expert or not. Your opinion would be immediately extremely valuable and valid. So just so you know, there is a way out of this. You could simply convert to Islam today.
How much do they pay? I'm just kidding.
It depends.
Totally teasing. No, I get what you're getting at, and I think it's more about for me in particular. I found that same argument for those who are thinking I have no clue. It's the same tricks that are used with presuppositionalism within other forms of Abrahamic faiths that I deal with, and I'm like, look, this is not new. This has been around for a while. I've seen this over and over and over. So they act like I just don't know what I'm talking about or what I'm dealing with. And in a lot of things I don't know. I'm learning, right? I'm learning a lot, especially when it comes to the field of Islam. But at the end of the day, we have a super chat. Stop scamming, man. Hi, AP. Video suggestion. Tell some grim fairy tales and throw in the story of Musa and Khidir. I'm hoping I said that right. And the kid killer. Maybe change their names to Hans and Gunther.
Yeah.
Went over my hair. It went over my hair.
Yeah, it's a story in the Islamic tradition, which includes the Moses from Abrahamic religion and a character called Khidr from Arab Islamic tradition, which has some pretty weird stuff to it. You generally find that certain stories or certain characters are adopted from different traditions, especially mainly from Abrahamic tradition, and then they are tweaked and turned into something very strange in Islam. But yeah, that's a funny suggestion. You could do a lot of that stuff, actually.
Interesting. We got one more, and then we have a caller, which is awesome. Somebody called in. Seriously, I appreciate it. I really do. I mean that. Like, I want to say up front, we're joking, we're guys, we're having fun. Me and AP don't believe, but at the end of the day, man, we really do want to show interaction, and I am interested. I can't put words in your mouth, AP, but I am truly interested in trying to find some common ground at the end of the day. Others are looking for blood. People are interested in a gladiator match, but not a verse said, and thank you for the super chat. Yeah, well, what about Neil Armstrong, AP? What about Neil? So, yeah, consider my mic dropped and yourself both, Majud. I don't even know.
She's making fun. But yeah, okay. So many people claimed a long time ago, and I believe some people still, I believe many people still claim today that Neil Armstrong converted to Islam when he stepped on the moon. And this is a story that I heard too when I was a young Muslim. When I grew up in the Muslim community, people were going around and sharing this idea, this story that Neil Armstrong, when he went to the moon, he heard a sound on the moon, and that sound was the Islamic call to prayer, the adhan. And then years later, when he was back here, and he went to Egypt or some country, and he heard that same sound there, and he was like, wait a minute, this is the same sound that I heard when I was on the moon. And then he decided to convert to Islam. This is a story that people actually tell, and many people actually believe. It is ridiculous.
I thought you were going to head in the direction of saying he got to the moon and realized, whoa, what is this crack doing in here? And then that would have been something. I thought that's what you were going to say because we were just talking about the split. But
maybe he should have seen that thing too. The whole moon, the remainder of the moon splitting in two. I mean, he should have seen that, right?
Interesting.
I don't know.
All right, we'll take our first caller. We'll limit it to. We'll do a 3-minute limit. I'll put my timer on, just in case it's become like a one-way street conversation. And but if it is good and there's back and forth and it's fair and everything sounds good, I'd love to have that conversation keep going if you're interested. So it'll be up to you, AP. Let me get my timer here. Apologies. Please forgive me for making everybody wait. All right. Welcome to Myth Vision. Is it Muji?
Yeah, all right. Hi.
Welcome.
Let me fix my camera, please.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello. Hi.
You snuck in, Dawa.
Yes. How are you?
I'm good. You're sneaking in. You snuck in, man. You didn't even use the same name. What happened?
No, actually, I use it when I go live. So I use my nickname, and I forgot to change it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you got 2 minutes and 30 seconds, my friend.
Actually, last time you gave those other fellow Muslim 45 minutes, and you gave me 5 minutes. But anyway,
let's do 2 minutes. How about that?
Yes. I just would like to say that twice I had a dialogue with him, and I was wrong. Actually, I should have debate with him because he goes around and lie about Muslim and Islam, and he demonize Muslims and Islam, and he even he just without any knowledge he accused me to being supporting a terrorist sect within 2 days, and he showed how irrational he is, and about this moon split, everything he says is a big lie, is absolutely lies, because I can give you, if you give me time, I can give you many verses in Quran that says, oh Muhammad, you don't need any miracle, because we gave miracle to previous prophets and he didn't accept it. Okay, so I ask you, because this is, you ran away from me. I know you like to debate ignorance like Ali Dava, and because
we literally had a debate together.
No, just I have
we literally had a debate together.
No, I didn't have debate. I had dialogue with you, and I wanted debate. And
we had a moderated debate.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't from my side. Okay, this time I want to show how irrational you are. That within 2 days, an organization which exists today, you decided within 2 days that this organization is a terrorist sect. If I say Derek is terrorist, okay, then he can sue me and take me to the court. And he will be, I will be responsible. But you are not responsible for whatever you say, okay? And you demonize Islam, Muslims.
Dawa, that's time.
Okay. But this is unfair, actually, would you accept my challenge?
Listen,
would you accept my channel?
My friend, yes. Don't make me listen to what I'm saying.
Yes.
3 minutes is for anybody who's going to come on. Okay. If the guest is interested in that dialogue, I'm leaving it up to the guest to want to have that dialogue. Yes. And that's the call he makes. I'm the one who's going to grant their permission on that particular thing, because
I'm not interested at all.
Yes, I know.
Right. Can you mute Muji for a second?
Yes. So yes, go ahead, AP.
Okay. So here's the issue. Muji, also known as Perfect Dawa, is a person that I respectfully interacted with in the past. He invited himself many times on my channel. I did host him on my channel. I had a long conversation with him, and then I even agreed to have a debate with him, despite the fact that he is a syncretic Shia socialist Muslim kind of weird thing that doesn't represent 99% of Muslims or of Islamic thought since the 7th century. Despite that, I agreed to have a debate with him, and we did actually have a debate on on modern day debate, which was titled "Is Islam Harmful?" And the debate is there for everyone to see. Apparently, Muji here didn't like the results of that debate and how it was received. So now he keeps trying to invite me back again. He's referring to some terrorist accusations. Apparently, he's part of some Iranian organization that has some cult-like behaviors in the world, and that tries to that tries to get rid of the Islamist government in Iran. And all I said in response to that was, when I was informed about that, "Oh, thanks, guys. I didn't know this. I didn't even make any accusations against anybody." But I just find it's kind of a complete waste of time here that Muji comes here and tries to hijack this conversation by bringing up this whole stuff. We had a debate. The debate is over. Since he has been so disrespectful and weird after that, I don't think it would be beneficial for anyone to have another debate. I would rather give more time to actual Muslims who believe in what 99% of Muslims believe in, and have discussions with them. I don't think this is worth it at all.
All right. Do you want to let him respond once, or do you want to go to the next caller?
He can I mean, if we have a different caller, you can just let him respond. It's to his channel, and then we can just move
Okay.
on.
All right. So 30 seconds, Muji, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring the next caller up.
Okay, I just want to know from where you got that I'm Shia. Okay, this is another, you just jump on and accuse people for, I'm not a Shia, I'm not a Sunni. Okay, another thing is that you said that organization is terrorist within 2 days, the best organization that has ever existed. Okay. Unfortunately, in 30 seconds, I cannot prove anything, but you keep running away from me because I didn't have debate with you. You are dangerous, like ISIS and Taliban. You are dangerous for the world because you demonize Muslims who want to be friend of a Muslim who believe in stoning adulterers.
Okay, Muji. Time.
Okay.
Time.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wow, that escalated very quickly.
I gotta draw the line just because I'm not interested in you guys, having those. Jerry Springer. Let me get these super chats, and we're gonna bring our next caller on. Mr. Remical, thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Hope I'm saying it. Is it Ramical? Anyway, love you guys. I rarely hear critics of Islam talk about the golden calf conundrum. It looks like the Quran conflates the two golden calf stories from the Bible. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you so much for the super chat, Mr. Ramical. I didn't necessarily look very much into that. The golden calf issue is very much, I would say, an issue that I basically glossed over and didn't ever spend much time on, except for the fact that the golden calf in the Quran makes a I don't know, it does something that a golden calf is not supposed to do, which is kind of a weird indication. But I didn't spend enough time on that specifically to comment further on that, in all honesty.
All right. Well, thank you for that super chat. Critical Faculty, good day, good people. And go subscribe to his channel. I'll be interviewing him this weekend as well. We're going to talk about his departure from Islam, and science played a huge role as well. Please let people know about Abdullah ibn Sar, who used to change the ending of verses without objection from Muhammad.
That is a scribe. Thank you so much. This is a scribe of Muhammad. So when Muhammad was revealing the Quran, supposedly according to the Islamic tradition, he would receive revelations through the angel from Allah directly, and anything that comes out of his mouth was directly, without any intervention, without any change. It was the spoken word of Allah. So anything that Muhammad reveals is directly the Quran, which has existed for eternity. That is the belief about the Quran's revelation. But among the scribes of Muhammad, who would note his words down as the Quran, and those notes were later compiled into one book called the Quran after his death, there were certain scribes who did ask him about certain things, and one of those scribes is this guy who notes something and then brings a certain objection or a certain comment, and Muhammad then corrects the verse that he just said. So the scribe actually notes down something different. In another case, you have this issue about might even be connected to this. You have this issue about Muhammad makes a revelation about people who go to war and those who stand behind and don't go to war, and then somebody asks a question about himself, and then Muhammad adds to the verse that he just revealed, and adds an exception to those people who are unable to go to war, that they can stay at home, for example. So there are certain scribes and certain traditions attributed to the scribes and to the memorizers, which indicate that Muhammad was changing certain verses that are revealed as he was spelling them, as he was speaking them out, which just indicates that there was something really going, terribly wrong during those revelations. And that's not really in alignment with the Islamic idea that the Quran is the perfect word of Allah, which has existed since, before the existence of humankind and all that.
Thank you for that. Appreciate that answer in the super chat.
I could formulate that much better if I...
to put it simply, I guess what you're saying is the prophet said something, the editor or the scribe is going, wouldn't it sound better if this is how it was? And he's like, yeah, that's better, actually. Go with that. That's the way I understood it. And then he... Not
explicitly like that, but it's just like... Muhammad says something, his scribe asks, do you mean this? And then Muhammad... changes his wording, so that wording, the new wording, is then noted down. So it is not as explicit as you just made it, but that's basically the conclusion.
Okay. Raymond, thank you so much for the super chat. AP and Derek got the Higma. Great to see you guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And then last one, we're going to take our caller, is by Kali. Stay away from him. Oh no, it isn't the last one.
Yes, we will. I don't know.
I don't know who you want me to stay away from, but thank you for the super chat. Are you talking about this dude right here?
Probably not. Who would say something so horrible?
I don't know. Sid Dave, thank you for the super chat. Do you think Muhammad thought of Jesus as biological son of Allah, and that's why he rejected Trinity, because he thought Mary was Allah's consort, Jesus was his son?
Good question. The Quran makes a lot of presents a very confusing perspective, or different confusing perspectives when it comes to whose son Jesus was and what Mary's role was. The Quran strictly rejects the idea that that Jesus was the son of God, because how could God have a wife, or how could Allah have a wife, or something like that, which is a weird objection to make. If Allah can simply make himself a son, or if he can always have a son, does he really need a wife? Is that really a requirement for how Allah or how God brings forth offspring, or how he has offspring all the time? On the other hand, a certain part in the Quran suggests that people believe in the divinity of Mary. It says, for example, something like that the Christians believe that Jesus was divine, and that Allah is one of three. And then it says, but Jesus and his mother were only humans. They used to eat and drink and stuff like that, which suggests that that Mary is also believed to be divine, and that she somehow has to has to be within this divine union and give birth to a divine being, because she herself is also divine. Or in another part it says, did you say to the people, it puts words into Jesus's mouth and says, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as deities besides Allah, which is a weird suggestion, because such a belief did not exist. So the Quran has a very confused understanding of how the whole Christology works, what the role of Mary is. There are a lot of problems to that. I did make videos on that specifically, and I'm actually working on one right now as well.
Thank you for that. Sid, thanks for the super chat. We got a few more that popped up, but I'm going to take a call, and then we'll do 3 minutes on that. If things go smooth, look, I'm going to just do it like this. While I have it's just you, and we don't have to deal with noise and other people and then all that. Let me know if you're like, nah, just pull the plug, or if you're, wanting to keep going, because I don't want to end up in a situation where we're just dragging it out. You know what I mean? If you don't want to do it. So anyway, welcome to Myth Vision Prometheus. Are you a Muslim?
Yeah, I am 50-50, like
50-50.
yeah.
Well, welcome, my friend. Do you have a question for Apostate Prophet?
Yeah, I'm saying 50-50 because there are some issues that I'm confronted with about God and a necessary being, and our present universe, the reality that we have, and what the book is telling us. That is the issue I'm facing sometimes. So I believe that an unmoved mover should know what they are moving. So if God is saying something in a supposed book coming from him, then we look at the universe, then we see what is there, then we feel like, yeah, what he says actually coincides with what we have in front of us. And it can foster our belief that, yeah, he's the one talking to us in the book. So that is what I'm confronted with when I look at these books and I look at reality and I see some differences. At the same time, I also have the feeling that very intelligent people, as our frontal lobes developed, we will need to have a sense of meaning to live. Because if we do not have a sense of meaning to live, we can die of existential depression. That is very possible.
2 minutes.
Yeah. So I want to ask if we should say that let's just follow rationalism. How about that meaning? What is the purpose of life? Just to live here and without a meaning. What do you think? What makes you want to have a sense of living? That's the question I have for you. And yes.
Thank you so much,
Yes.
Prometheus. I appreciate that. It's a very deeply philosophical question, which concerns itself more with the meaning of life. I mean, I agree with the whole part, which maybe might need to be explained a little bit further. According to the Islamic belief, Allah, who creates everything, including the universe and human life, also reveals a book to all humankind, which is supposed to be his direct word, and which is supposed to contain only truth and no falsehood, no error at all. So insofar, you would expect that this book contains only accurate information, and especially if this book keeps appealing to the natural world and how we observe the natural world, and makes comments on science. As much as Muslims like to say the Quran is not a book of science, I'm sorry, it is in a way, because it appeals to science all the time and says there are signs in the sky and the moon and this and that. So we have to analyze the Quran's claims about the natural world, and it happens to be that many of the Quran's comments about the natural world seem very nonsensical. Of course, if you start out with the idea that Islam is true, then you will find your way around that. But if you look at it without that lens, then it just appears like a quite ignorant book in today's time, and simply a book of the 7th century of Arabia. To the other issue, though, you don't believe that a God or a divine being exists, and you believe that that stories of such a being are entirely fiction, they are fantasy. So then you conclude that therefore, since there is no sublime supreme being which gave you life and which gave you a mission, you are therefore left with without any mission, without any purpose at all, and that feels very depressing. I understand that perspective entirely, and I don't want to sound like, or I don't want to act like I'm kind of a life guru who has it all figured out and who wants to give perfect advice for meaning and happiness in life to others. I'm dealing with all of that myself. We are all dealing with these questions ourselves throughout our lives. What I simply make of everything that we have is the belief in one God or one creator is unreasonable on too many levels. The belief in creators, in divine beings beyond our reality, beyond what we know and see, is unfounded. I have no reason to believe in these things. I learned from a very early age, and we learn in general, that meaning and purpose comes from such a being, because that's the reason why we were created. So if those things do not exist, then that means I do not have an inherent purpose, which was given to me and prescribed to me by such a being. This means that in that sense of meaning, my life has no meaning. Objectively, there is no meaning prescribed to me. I could now look at it as, okay, my life is completely meaningless. There is no meaning in life. It's empty. Or I could simply say, hey, that whole idea that my life is supposed to have a certain meaning, which was prescribed by a higher being, is an idea that is unfounded in and of itself, and an idea that only came into existence because people believed in such a being. So I don't have to adopt that idea and look at life and at my own life from that lens. I could simply say the entire idea that my life has to have a certain meaning is an absurd and unfounded idea. So therefore, my life is not meaningless in that sense. My life is simply without any objective, universal meaning that was prescribed by a supposed mythical being. That doesn't mean that my life is meaningless, though, or that doesn't mean that I have no reason to be alive and no reason to be happy, though, because all that I know is that I came into existence in a world where millions, billions of other people exist, where civilizations have passed and they built great things. I currently live in an environment with numerous people around me that I share things with, that I feel empathy with, that I share goals with. We coexist in an environment. I have goals and ambitions in life. And while I am alive, doing certain things makes me happy, not doing certain other things makes me sad, and the other way around, and so on. I could now decide to simply think, oh, well, there is no inherent meaning to life, so let me just do nothing and die. That would be miserable, and I could just waste away. Fine, could be doable, but is that really what you want to do? And why would you want to do that? I mean, that is pointless in and of itself. But
if I could, just to point out something interesting, I don't know if Prometheus, have you watched this show Vikings before?
Vikings.
The Viking show on History Channel?
Not really.
It's definitely worth checking out. This guy Ragnar, right? I mention this often lately because my buddy used this in a video called Atheist, Why Don't You Go Kill Yourself? That's literally what the name of his video was. I was shocked it was still monetized. But in it, there's a scene in the show. It's a great show. Go check it out. There's a scene where Ragnar asks the English king. They become best friends. They were biggest enemies, and then they became best friends. And he says, to his friend, what if the gods don't exist? And the guy goes, what are you talking about? What? And he says, what if the gods, our gods, Odin, Thor, Jesus, your God that's in heaven, all that, what if they don't exist at all? And he's like, then there's no meaning at all. And then Ragnar responded and said, or everything has meaning. And so it's really, if you notice, the Christian immediately, the monotheist who has one deity and this is it, and that's everything, his whole life, his whole foundation. If you take it away, everything's destroyed. And the other guy who comes from a polytheistic many gods, but he's been doubting for a long time, he's been wrestling with this issue, starts to find meaning in other ways. And it's not through the idea we've always been taught. We've been taught this is either true, or why don't we just go blow ourselves up or kill everybody or go kill your mom or whatever, like crazy stuff. No, I found meaning without it.
Can I say something?
Sure, go ahead.
With the issue of morality and atheism, on that part, what I thought was that all as if evolution is true, which there are a lot of evidence pointing to that direction. If it is true, there is every good reason to think that once we became Homo sapiens, we should be sapient enough to live a moral life.
I would have developed. That'd be something that we developed over time.
Yeah, interesting. The thing is, I was reading about this a while ago, about the science of of human development and morality and religious behavior within
Yeah.
different living beings, and they're studying religious behavior in different animals and also moral behavior in different animals. There is moral behavior in many different kinds of animals. They observe moral behavior, and that simply means that certain animals live together and establish a certain natural set of rules, which is not inherent to them. They simply learn it by living together and just being born into new cultures of the same history of animals over and over again, and they live by these moral rules. Religious behavior is very rare. They have no confirmed case of religious behavior, except some animals, like I think elephants and ravens or crows. I don't know. Some few animals like that are seen to have, engaged in certain behavior that can be called religious behavior, such as attending to the death of a fellow animal and holding like a very brief ceremony for that animal or things like that. Humans are extremely intelligent in comparison to all the other animals that we have. We have a certain part of our brain that has developed simply for the purpose of reasoning much further, and we have developed the ability to question, to believe, to establish philosophy and theology and moral rules and this and that. Now we can
Before
use
all that, it was language, of course.
we can use all of that to form a certain way of living, and thinking that we have to therefore abide by a certain way of living, or else everything is meaningless. Or we can simply appreciate the fact that we can do these things and not drown ourselves in the idea that everything is meaningless, but rather appreciate this and go somewhere with that. I want to briefly
I was gonna say, just a heads up, we have 2 callers, and just to let you know, other than Prometheus, but please continue.
Okay. I want to add something very quick. There's just one idea in philosophy that I became fascinated with over the years, and I kind of base many of my thoughts on that, which is absurdism, which is a kind of an extension of existentialism, and the general message there, as far as I view it, is that humans suffer in life because they feel the need to search and find a meaning in life which does not exist. And this empty struggle, this search for meaning, a meaning which does not exist, gives them a struggle. And the way to get rid of that struggle and to live to live life more meaningfully, if you can say it so, is to recognize the absurdity of just that, of that empty struggle, of that empty search after a meaning which nobody ever found, and to tackle life in a more authentic way, and to live life instead of trying to question life. I really appreciate that idea in general.
Yeah, Prometheus, thank you for joining us here, man. I got 2 other people waiting, and great questions, by the way. Great questions.
I really thanks so much. I so much have an insight into science, and I usually is AP, even though in the beginning I had a lot of issues with him. Cognitive dissonance is one issue that we usually face, and going through these things, you have to know. And I'm aware that a lot of the time, religious belief, the faith system has a way of having an impairment to cognitive flexibility. So that alone, can create an issue.
Thank you so much.
But at this point, I think that I'm beginning to analyze and understand what is going on. So I'm in the journey. So
I wish you great luck and all the best on that, and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. That was awesome, man. That you were getting me thinking of some stuff too, and I'm like, this is your show. So we'll get to the callers in a minute. Let me just catch up here. NW89, thank you for the super chat. In light of millions killed by American interventions in Muslim countries, are you sure trashing Islam on the internet does more good than harm?
I think it does. Sorry, very blunt answer to a question that I consider very absurd. It is true that there are conflicts going on in the world, and that certain parties end up on the wrong side of the conflict, as you may view it, which doesn't take away from the fact that we are dealing with a very terrible idea that many people struggle with and struggle from. I would say I consider myself almost a victim. It's dumb to say, I think, but it sounds very pathetic. But I am a victim of this. But there are people who are much greater victims of this religion and its authoritarianism in the world. I don't necessarily need help. Many of these people do need help. We cannot just say, "Oh, we shouldn't talk about this big problem, or we shouldn't talk about this huge problem," because we also have, the conflicts in the Middle East. That's simply an absurd position. I'm sorry, I can't respect that.
Okay, is it fair to kind of toot my horn and say I'm taking it everywhere? It's not just Islam.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I mean, I think it's I do it with my ex-faith, if you will, Christianity, specifically fundamentalism. People who are theists, I have best friends that are theists. I have best friends that are Christians, but they're just not radical fundamentalists. So the goal is to have everyone start getting a little bit better and leaving the 7th century, the 1st century, and the 6th, 7th, 8th century BC. We're trying to get to the 2022s, trying to, but slowly getting there. So thank you, NW, for that super chat. David the Goliath, please debunk the Muslim argument that dual Quran in the Quran is Cyrus and not Alexander. Muslims are making excuses to hide the obvious plagiarized story. Now, pause for 1 second. I want to say something about Cyrus, because this is like that makes the world a difference. Sure, Cyrus may not have been a boy lover like Alexander, and a polytheist in the same way, but he did have a different God. And this isn't the Abrahamic God. Ahura Mazda, he was in the Persian, world, so he was not in the Abrahamic world. Even though he was called a Messiah, we know historically speaking, this guy was not that. So Cyrus, Alexander, Schmander, I don't care. The point is, you still got a problem. But do you want to deal with that?
I mean, Cyrus the Great is very much praised in the history of the Israelites due to certain interactions and connections into him, But the thing is, it just doesn't make sense. There is no connection between the character of al-Qarnayn in the Quran and the historical figure of Cyrus. There is no connection. There is no reason to assume that this is the case. You have a character called al-Qarnayn in the Quran, which stands for the two-horned one. Alexander the Great is widely known in the Middle East and other regions as the two-horned one, and appears with two horns on his helmet on coins which circulate everywhere around the Middle East, including Arabia, long before Islam. Dhul-Qarnayn's story in the Quran is that he has a huge empire, goes to the very far west and to the very far east, encounters people whose languages he doesn't understand. They complain that they are going to be invaded by Gog and Magog, and he builds a wall for them to protect them, and so on. Funnily enough, Alexander the Great also has a myth which predates Islam, which also says that he goes around the world, conquers the world, interacts with a certain people who asks for help, and he goes and builds them a wall between two mountains and protects them from a certain people, possibly known as Gog and Magog. So there is just so much in common between Dhul-Qarnayn and Alexander the Great, and nothing at all in common with Cyrus, except that Cyrus may also have been described as somebody who wore a helmet with two horns, but that's all there is to it. I wanted to make a video about this forever. It's just I keep making promises about
you will,
video that I will
make. You will. You've been doing a lot of work. So thank you, Sid, for another super chat. Life has no meaning in a religious worldview, as humans are just slaves of a god. Only in a non-theistic universe there is meaning to life, reasons to explore the universe, and humanity to flourish. See, it is about perception. I really think it is. I had a long conversation with one of my Christian buddies the other night, and he goes into morality. He thinks there is this metaphysical morality that underlies it all. He thinks that there's meaning that is existentially beyond what we would want to attribute to basic meaning in life and all these things. And I'm like, do you really need all that? Do you need that extra thing in your mind? It's like my brother was getting in a fist fight at high school one time, and there was a group of the guys, but we were wrestlers in school, so we can handle ourselves. We did jujitsu, things like that, so we know a little bit, And Kurt's by himself though, so he's still second guessing himself. And as soon as I was walking out of the school and he's like huffing and puffing because the guy blew smoke in his girlfriend's face in the parking lot, he turns and realizes I'm behind him. And it made him feel confident. So then he did some things that got him suspended. And I was behind him, though. He knew that, Derek had his back. There's this comfort of feeling like you have this figure, this thing beyond. But like AP said, where's that evidence? And I'm with Sid on that perception. Like for me, I think it's, what would it mean to be a slave of Allah or a slave of Jesus today?
I was a very religious Muslim, and maybe my very heavy views on life were inspired by my rather mystical path within Islam. But when I was very religious and so devout, life itself and the world that we are in was just considered a temporary life, which the Quran describes as, meaningless and nothing but play. And what matters is the afterlife that will come. And that's how I viewed life. In line with that, I appreciate life as a gift, but we view it as, a meaningless struggle, and what is real is after that. Now, today, after I left Islam, I really, truly appreciate life because I realize that this is the only thing that I have, the only thing that we have, the only thing that we really know, the only thing that matters. And everything that we experience in this is not just for no reason. It is actually, the thing that we have and think about and experience. And it makes me appreciate life even more. And in the end, in Islam, you're just a slave of Allah, and you go to an afterlife where you exist meaninglessly as a slave forever and ever. What's the point of that?
Yeah, interesting. I think this is our final one. Then we'll bring on our caller. Is Mertez Murti? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Thank you, Merhaba Ridvan. How can most merciful and compassionate Allah create evil, Satan? Isn't that biggest contradiction and non-logical?
I mean, you could argue with that, and there are, of course, so many religious theological responses to why that is the case. But in general, today, I would, of course, expand on that very much if I ever had a debate on that issue. But I just view it as kind of paradoxical and contradictory that Allah, the Almighty, the most perfect, most compassionate, would first of create flawed beings of whom most will go to hell, and create Satan, who will make sure that many of them will be, misguided and will go to hell. It's just a weird issue, and this is not something that we discuss today. This is something that was questioned in Muhammad's own time. For example, according to early Persian sources, a contemporary of Muhammad who proclaimed himself a prophet was actually criticizing specifically this part and saying Allah is real and Muhammad was a true prophet, but his message was corrupted. Allah did not create Satan because the Almighty eternally good being would never create something like Satan. That's an objection that he brought up according to this source in Muhammad's own time. So yeah, but this is a long discussion.
Oh, thank you for that answer. Thank you for that super chat, of course. And I will go ahead and bring on one of our callers. Alternative Islam, welcome to Myth Vision, my friend. Hello.
Hello.
Sorry for the long wait. I apologize.
Are we going to get an alternative to Islam or an alternative version of Islam? What are we going to get here? Why are there no traditional Muslim callers?
I cannot hear. You're muted, my friend. Let me see. Okay. Well,
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So first of all, let me clear me. Actually, I'm not a Muslim. I'm not from that background as well. But I have lots of my friends, and I have been through that surrounding.
Can you turn down your volume just a little bit? You're a little loud. I apologize, but I just a little bit quieter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's a little better. A little bit.
Okay.
Sorry.
So I was like in surroundings with friends and all those who were Muslims, and so I have learned their philosophy. Like I've learned the books, like their religious scriptures. And since I myself am not a Muslim, I come from like I'm a Hindu. So many times, like when I read Quran, some things I read like the verse of 2.65. It says like Allah curses some people and He makes them into apes and swine. And that's another verse.
Can I interrupt quickly?
Sure,
We
sure.
can talk lengthily about things. The issue is this stream is meant to be for Muslim callers, so Muslim callers who would like to discuss why Islam is true and to discuss with me or with us in general. So
Yeah.
we might have agreements on Islam and what is wrong with it, but that should be reserved for a different occasion because this is supposed to be for Muslim callers.
Please, thank you for waiting. Though I'm sorry that you had to wait that long, but this is something I specifically pin in the messages for everybody who's calling in to please be a Muslim if you're going to call, or at least be in that area. But I do appreciate you calling, my friend. We're trying to take Muslim callers though. All right. Let me go ahead and bring on so Ali in the back. Just to give you a heads up, it says your devices are not connected, so it's not allowing me to add you on, even though you were next in line. And where did you get that chalice, though, bro?
My wife got me this because she thinks I'm a king or something. Or yeah, she thinks I'm a king. That's why she got me this.
You bought it. Don't lie. No, I'm just kidding. My wife bought it in my butt. No, I'm just kidding.
My wife bought. I recently got myself a wearable blanket because I had a very cold place to work at. So she thought I looked like a king with that. So she got me this in addition. That's very nice.
So Ali in the back, what can I do? It's not allowing anything, and I don't have like a call in. To be able to call in, so I apologize. There we go. Okay, there we go. Welcome. Can you hear
am I
us?
audible? Yes, I can hear you.
Welcome to Myth Vision. Are you Muslim?
Yes, I am a Sunni Muslim from India.
Thank you for calling.
Yes. So there are many arguments about why will Allah send people to hell if they through their thought process come.
You're gonna have to slow down a little bit, my friend. We're trying to understand you. So I set 3 minutes. Oh, what happened? Internet. I think the internet bounced out. Hold on.
Did he leave the StreamYard? Or?
Yeah, it popped. I think this is him. Welcome back. Did you lose your connection? Okay, we're gonna go with Q. Welcome, or is it Q? Oh, it's O. Sorry. Welcome to Myth Vision. Thank you for waiting. You're
hello,
muted.
hello. You're muted. We can't hear you. Can you press that mute button?
Press the unmute. Let's see. It doesn't allow me to unmute you.
Well, he says a sec.
Okay. Okay. He's working on it. Well, while we do that, please be oh, there we go.
You guys
go
hear
ahead.
me?
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't realize that my sound was actually cut off.
Well, welcome to Myth Vision.
Yeah. Hi guys. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So yeah, to be honest, I don't have a specific point to bring. I'm just curious to know what's your strongest argument. I've seen some of your videos, Apostate Prophet or AP. I don't know how I'm supposed to call you. I'm very interested in most of the things that you said. To be honest, I don't share any of your vision on anything, which is what makes this debate interesting. I have to remind myself sometimes that I have to hope basically that you come from a good place, to be honest, that you have like a humanistic tendencies that you try actually to make the world better. I think that's what's behind what you're doing, but it seems to me that it's fairly unjust in many of the readings that you have on the faith. So I would be interested in knowing like if you can give me the in your view, what is the strongest argument that you have against Islam, and just so that we can maybe discuss it. And maybe I will actually acknowledge that I don't have an answer to that specific point, but I'm just curious, like if I was to pick your mind a bit on this, if I may.
I appreciate that. I would like to say I think, in my opinion, that I do come from a good place, and I do approach this from a good place. I think I want to change things for the better. I have no bad intentions. The issue is, I could now present many things that are the best argument against Islam, but you come from a place
what is
where
in
you
you
affirm.
maybe based on your own trajectory, maybe what was the thing that actually pushed you away? Like maybe if there was one thing, maybe it was a slow, decline. I don't know exactly how it went.
Yeah, I
That's a
would
good
say
question.
I would say it was definitely the fact that it is irreconcilable that Allah creates humans specifically and designs them in such a way that they will do exactly what he designs them to do, but then he also punishes them for disbelieving and sends them to eternal hell. So there are many problems with this whole issue, such as that Allah in the very beginning knows exactly what his creation, what I, for example, will do in my life. Despite that, he designs me exactly and precisely as I am, and brings me forth, which means that he deliberately and knowingly creates a being which will disbelieve and suffer forever. So he creates the evil and the suffering.
So in a sense, what you're saying is that you think that if God exists, then free will cannot exist. That's pretty much how you would phrase. Would you phrase it this way?
I would not necessarily say free will does not or cannot exist. I would simply say it is incompatible with the Islamic idea. So the reality of Allah's predetermination is incompatible with the idea of free will. That's
but
what I would say.
it depends on how you understand predestination. I mean, the way we understand it in Islam is not that God is actually forcing you to do anything that you do. It's that you have the free will to do these things that you do.
I know, but that is
God knows
into
before
him.
you do them that you will do them. So that's not actually something that is incompatible.
Okay. Is Allah in charge of everything that happens in the world, of everything that will happen? Can anything happen outside of Allah's will?
Outside of Allah's will, what does that mean to you? Does that mean that Allah makes it happen, or does that mean?
I'm just asking a question. Does anything happen outside of Allah's will?
So, if by will you mean, can anything happen that Allah did not allow to happen? Is that what the question you're asking?
Pretty much. I mean, the Quran makes the assertion
if
that
I was to say,
if
that's the meaning, yes, I would say that nothing can happen without Allah allowing to exist. But that doesn't mean that Allah actually directs it, as in decides for it to happen. Meaning that it's not Allah that says, you know what, you will sin now, and then you happen to sin.
The thing is, so the Quran makes the assertion over and over again. It's everything that happens only happens by the will of Allah. Everyone who disbelieves only happens because Allah allows them to
understand. But if you've read through the whole book, and assuming you do, you have, you know that in many places in the book it says that Allah doesn't, lead astray except but the wrongdoers, and the wrongdoers have led themselves astray, or every time that this is mentioned, then when God says that he will lead people astray, what he says in the same paragraph, or a bit before, a bit after, is that it's the wrongdoers that led themselves astray by their own will, by their own passions, by their own and so on and so forth. So in a sense, he's always reminding
the issue is I never claimed that the Quran is consistent. In fact, that is
but it's not
the main problem. That is the main problem.
No, that's the thing. But that's the thing that you have to bring. I think.
Can you let me
Sorry, go ahead.
The issue is that is the problem. The issue is that the Quran's own claims, the Quran's own theology is inherently, internally inconsistent. The Quran makes one claim which is inconsistent with the other claim. It is not simply about what I will to do and what Allah wills to do. Let's go to the very beginning. Allah decides out of nowhere to create, right? He decides to create humans. He decides to create me, for example. Before Allah created me, did he decide to create me exactly as I am? Did he design me fully, 100%? Or is anything about me, is any part of my design outside of his design, outside of his decree?
That's the thing. Again, we're going back to the first question: Is God able to create an entity who has free will? That's the core question that you're asking behind everything.
Can you answer the question though? Am I not, when Allah creates me, am I not 100%?
But you're not a machine, though.
Fully designed by Allah.
Yes, you are, but you're not a machine, meaning that Allah designed
Okay.
within you
Okay,
the
so
ability to make your own
designed me.
decisions.
So he designed me 100%, right?
Yes, with the ability to have your own agency. That's the
Okay,
thing.
to have my own
Don't
agency.
forget the
So
second part.
he created.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
created
yeah,
my brain. He created my mind. He created
yeah,
my environment. He created everything that
yeah.
I am. Now in
And he
life,
create.
I make decisions
Yeah.
based on whether I will believe or disbelieve, whether I will take
Mhm.
choice A or choice B. I make
Mhm.
them purely depending on the mind that I have, which
Yes.
functions only by Allah's design, the environment that I am in, which was made by Allah's design,
Yeah, but
the
yeah, I
person that
understand your
I
point.
am, all the life events that I have.
But
So
but I think you're not hearing my point.
everything from
Everything that you're
beginning to
saying, I
end
agree
was
with.
completely designed by Allah, right?
No, but I agree with everything you said, AP here. The only thing that I don't agree with is that what you are, let's say, underlying here is that because you were designed by Allah and your brain and so on, then you have no free will. That's the main argument that you're trying to push, but I don't see how. Because even if your brain is made of physical, made of neurons and so on, it doesn't mean that agency doesn't exist within it. And what you have to prove, if you
How
say
does it
that it's
exist?
inconsistent, what you have to prove is that God is actually unable to create an agent that has actual free will. That is the core of
It is
your.
impossible. So we are
So
saying
you're saying, okay. So,
Allah creates. We're saying
yeah,
Allah creates me 100%. He designs everything, 100% of everything. Now, if
yeah,
wanting is an action, which is something that must exist, which I don't bring into existence, which I don't create. If
mhm,
wanting is something that is also created, it is created by Allah. So
yeah.
when I, with my created mind, want to reject a certain evidence and to want to believe that Allah does not exist, then this
Mhm.
was created by Allah. It was not created by me. It cannot be outside of Allah's creation.
Yeah, I
That
understand.
would
But
mean that
so
I am
that's the main.
creating something.
I understand. Okay, so it's interesting. I understand your point. So, yeah,
And that's
definitely,
just
that's something
one
that we will.
point. I think that's just one point that probably
Yeah, yeah.
started to make him like
Mhm.
realize, like, hold on, maybe some of my loved ones are going to hell, or
Yeah, but
you know what I mean.
if you allow me, Derek, I think that here that's where I don't know. In Islam, the AP knows this concept of fitra, and the idea that there is some innate, sense of for us to go forward, to go back to God and so on. Here, I would say that even without the fitra, you have the sense of free will because you're exercising every day that free will. So you kind of you act on it every day. So to stand here and to say, look, because I'm made of physical components that were designed before my like everything that you're made of has been designed and decided before you were born,
Can I ask a
with or
question?
without God.
Let me ask you this: does the
Yeah.
Quran say humans have free will? Does it explicitly tell us that we have free will,
The word free will, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't know,
or
I
like
don't
free
think that it's
choice?
within it.
Like, does it
But
ever
yeah,
mention
choice,
that?
yeah. So the idea of choice, the idea that people choose either to follow the right path or the wrong one, to follow their passion or to go back to God. To even there is the notion of ijtihad that is very present in Islam, which is the idea that you struggle, because within us there is this idea that we have like there is something called a nafs ammara bisu, which means it's the part of the soul that is guided towards doing evil things, and there's also a call within you to do good things, and that's something that you experience every day. You always have this struggle between doing the right thing or the good thing, I don't know, going through the red light or stopping. This is the kind of struggle that you have within you, and Islam really reinforces the fact that between those two choices, you always have the free will to guide yourself in that
So,
direction or in this
Let,
direction.
let me ask you a question. Also,
AP, by the way, we have
follow me
4
here.
callers waiting. By the way, just
Okay,
so you know.
follow me here. So Allah creates me and creates everything else, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
no. Okay. Now Allah creates for me choice A, which is belief, and choice B, which is disbelief, right?
yeah. I mean, he creates all the possibilities, I would say. Yeah.
Okay. Now, just for the sake of the example, he creates choice
Mhm.
A, which is belief, and choice B, which is disbelief. You say Allah creates my ability to choose. My ability to choose was created by Allah, right?
Yeah, the free will that allows you to choose at all. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Like
okay.
unlike an angel, for
And
example, an angel doesn't have
my
the choice.
choice, my
Mhm.
action, my choice. So whether I choose A or choose B, the choice, was that choice created and decreed by Allah or not?
Decreed as in allowed, yes. Decided, no. God did not decide
Who
for you
says
to act this way.
No,
but that's very important.
that,
You know,
that,
it's
that,
like
that
saying,
would mean that
yeah.
I am doing something outside of Allah's creation, which is a
No,
blasphemous
that's
belief.
not what it means. You're still acting within the creation, but you're acting of your own free will and own
That
agency.
doesn't
That's the
make
thing that you.
sense. That would mean that the choice that I'm making. Look, he creates the
Yeah,
choices,
of course.
right? He creates A and B. He creates the choices, but
Yeah,
the act of choosing itself
is
is
yours.
something that I bring into existence, right? It is something that I bring into existence.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Yeah. You bring it into
that is
existence. Yeah.
my move.
You,
I bring it
as
into
in you
existence.
act
It
it.
is outside of Allah's creation.
Yes, no, you act it like God creates choice A, B, C, D. You are not able to create a
Okay.
choice E.
Allah
So
writes
you
Allah writes everything and designs everything long before it happens. He decides
yeah.
exactly what we will do. He decrees. Decreeing
No,
means
that's
deciding.
not the Islamic viewing of
It
things.
is. It is.
No. I'm 100% sure that that is not the Islamic view. The Islamic view is that whatever you do or do not do is your choice, and the consequences will be your
Okay.
responsibility. But there is no Muslim. I've never heard anyone saying that you do not have the
The
choice.
issue is this is what you say. You say it is.
But
You say
that's what
you say it
Islam
is
says.
you.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that. It says it nowhere.
Really?
This
Are
is
you saying
this
that
is
you?
no. This
Sorry,
is look.
just allow me just
Listen,
a simple
listen
question.
for a second. This is what you say. You say it is your choice. The
Yeah.
issue is, according to the Islamic logic, Allah creates everything, brings everything into existence, designs everything long before it happens. Nothing happens outside of His decree and outside of His will.
Yeah, but you have to understand what that means, though.
Everything only came into existence by His decree. Did Allah want me to disbelieve? Yes or no?
No, He didn't want you to disbelieve.
Okay, so He didn't want me to disbelieve. Does everything only happen by Allah's will?
Only happened by Allah's will.
Did
Everything that happens within the universe. Yeah.
No,
Okay, so
that was a perfect question. Does everything happen only by Allah's will?
anything can only happen is if Allah allows it, not by Allah's will. That's not the same thing, though.
Can you answer the question? Does everything
you're
only
asking the
happen by
question,
Allah's will?
but that's where you have to be very cautious with your words. Do you mean will as in that's what He
answer
wants?
the question. Does everything only happen by Allah's will?
Allah's will as in wish, or as in what does that mean? I answered you.
The Quran says nothing happens except by Allah's will. The issue is very clear. What Allah wants, and nothing happens if Allah doesn't want it to happen.
Yeah, okay. So if you mean will as in within His let's say within His kingdom, nothing can happen that He hasn't allowed to happen. Yes.
You're adding to the question. Does anything happen outside of what Allah wants?
I would say yes. I would say nothing can happen outside of what Allah wants, but that does not mean that Allah is not able to create free will. That's the thing that you.
Okay, so I asked you.
We're getting nowhere. We're getting
nowhere. Yeah. We're going in circle.
We are
Actually,
getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. I just asked you. Does Allah want me to disbelieve? You said no, and then
no, He does not want you to disbelieve.
Okay, I know. You said no. He doesn't want me to disbelieve. And then I asked you, does anything happen outside of Allah's will? You said no. So Allah doesn't want me to disbelieve.
But that's the thing. You changed the word right now. You've just changed the word. Will.
Okay, let's say want. That's the same thing. It's the same thing.
No, because
nothing happens except if Allah wants it to happen. Isn't that true?
No, because He gave you free will. That's the thing. So if Allah wants you to have free will, look, AP. Okay, give me 1 second. I will answer your question.
Go ahead.
Allah wanted you to have free will. He wanted you to have free will, right? He gave it to you. Now, what you do with it is your own decision. So nothing happens within Allah's will, meaning that your free will comes because of Him. Now, what you do with Him is up to you. Whether good or bad, it will be up to you. So even if you disbelieve, that's what Allah wants, as in that's based on the free will that He gave you. But it doesn't mean that He wanted you to actually disbelieve. That is not the point of Islam. And nowhere at all you will ever see that. So Allah.
Okay, that's very nice word. But can you please come back to the question? Does Allah want me to believe? Yes or no? Does Allah want me to disbelieve? Yes or no?
No, He doesn't want you to disbelieve, but He wants you to have the choice to disbelieve.
Okay. Does anything happen, or can anything happen if Allah does not want it to happen?
But that's the thing, you're coming back to it. But I've answered it, I think. I told you that Allah does not want you to disbelieve, but He wants you to have the choice to believe or disbelieve.
Okay, you're simply adding to the. I'm asking you something very simple.
That's very mainstream Islam, man. I mean,
okay, I'm asking you something very simple. Does anything happen if Allah does not want it to happen?
No, nothing can happen if Allah does not want it to happen.
Perfect. So Allah does not want me to disbelieve, according to you.
He doesn't wish you to disbelieve. Yeah.
And nothing can happen if Allah does not want it to happen. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
It is a contradiction with each other.
But that's because you're mistaking. You're forgetting a sentence right in the middle. Allah wants you to choose. So Allah wants you.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything.
Well, let me give you the three sentences then. Okay, nothing can happen outside of Allah's want. Allah does not want you to disbelieve, but Allah wants you to choose what you do. Now tell me how those three sentences cannot work together.
Paradoxical.
I'll repeat them very slowly. Okay, I'll repeat them very slowly. Nothing can happen outside of what Allah wants, right? Allah wishes you to believe, and Allah wishes you to choose to believe or not. He wants you to believe, but He wants you to choose to make that choice yourself. That's very logical. That's how it works in Islam. So now, if you see that there is a contradiction here,
here is the problem. Here there is a contradiction.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a very, very clear contradiction here. You say first, nothing can happen outside of what Allah wants, right?
Yes.
And then you are telling me Allah wants you to choose what you will believe. By Allah giving me the ability to choose whatever I believe, I am doing something that Allah does not want. Therefore, I am doing something that Allah does not want, which is paradoxical. It doesn't make sense. That's
no, because I think that's the limit of the word. Maybe that's the limit of the words.
It's not a very clear contradiction. You're refusing to see it. I'm sorry.
No, to be honest, to me it's very clear. But because you hang on to the word "want" or will, and it's a bit confusing. To me, it's a bit confusing because when you use this word to will something, like when we say that nothing can happen outside of Allah's will, it means that there is none of us on earth or nothing in the universe that can actually, do something that is beyond what God has designed it to do. And God designed us with the free will to believe or not. So whatever we do, we are within His will. Whether we believe or not believe, we are within His decision that He gave us, that He made. Sorry. For us to choose.
You're adding your own eisegesis to it.
No, man. I mean, again, honestly, I mean, if you didn't know that,
we have five.
Okay. I'm not going to keep you further. I'm not going to keep you further, AP.
Except Allah wants them to believe what is believed. That's what the Quran.
AP, we got five other callers.
Okay. I'll leave it to the next guys, but well, anyways, it was a good discussion anyway.
Thank you for calling. I'm reminded of my Calvinist days with this discussion. Thank you so much for calling, my friend.
Take care, guys.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so let me catch us up on Super Chats because I promised everybody, and then we're going to get into these calls here. Just real quick, there was a statement in the Super Chat right wherever it was. Here it is. Nope, sorry. Going down. Yeah, I get what you were saying. Nothing can happen outside of Allah's will. Admitted. Does Allah want us to believe? Yes. And if you don't believe, did you just go against what Allah wills to want to happen? And that's what it sounded like. David the Goliath, Cyrus was an Iranian. Iranians who are Muslims have never referred him as Dul Qarnayn and have kept no records of him fighting Gog and Magog, fake Islam.
Yeah. So that's just again to go back to the whole issue that the claim that Quranic was actually Cyrus the Great. It is an invention that doesn't make sense. The issue is that the Quran itself or Islamic tradition itself never specifies who or what the Quranic is. People simply come to Muhammad and ask him about the Quranic. This is very funny and very telling, by the way. They come and ask him. He doesn't respond immediately. He goes away and later comes back and then this whole thing is revealed. And that's just weird. Why don't you just tell us who this is, what he did, why he did these things that he did? Instead, it just tells us about an unspecified being who does certain things, but we have no idea who it is. And as far as the knowledge outside of Islam is concerned, this character very much corresponds with Alexander the Great, who was a huge pagan who created his own syncretic culture.
Thank you. Mr. Morpheus says, have you ever talked to Christian Prince? He destroys Islam, but can you debate him on Christianity, please? I think I called you one day about this, and I was like, I don't think he's talking about you, but maybe. I don't know.
Who, you? I don't know.
I don't do debates, but either way, I love to have conversations. But I have been told, as far as he goes, he's not somebody that you should care to have a conversation with, to be honest with you. That's what I've been told, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say anything. I wouldn't be interested in debating if that is to me. Yeah, but yeah.
Rhea, thank you for the sticker. I appreciate it. Alpha, thank you so much for that. Erdogan, Erdo. How does Islam Muslims view disabled people in their community? Disgrace? Hardly see them in L. Thanks, Arn. Admire your knowledge, AP.
Oh, thank you so much, Erdogan. Thank you. I respect you, Erdogan. You're leading the country in the perfect way.
Thanks so much for the super chat. I appreciate the love. We're almost through here, and then we got callers. We got a bunch of callers, so you got to be. You're going to have to be responsible here, AP. You weren't as responsible last time, and I might have to steer everything.
What are you talking about?
Just in the last call, kept going. I kept hearing the same. He wasn't agreeing with you, and you guys weren't. Mr. Morpheus.
I think that was not really the case. The issue is that we were actually at a point of conflict that had to be made, but
I agree.
You can't just cop out of that. It is, you have to get through it. But
I saw that, but what I was saying is he was never getting to a point where he was accepting that everything that happens is in accordance with Allah's will. You're saying, so my disbelief must be in accordance with his will. This is the same. Listen, this is why maybe it's my own boredom of it, because I did this as a Calvinist for multiple years. The determinism of God's wills, and Calvinists have to wrestle with the will of God's precepts and the deterministic will of God. What God decrees and says, listen, you need to obey your mother and father. But then there's the people who don't obey their mothers and fathers. But behind the scenes, that's all part of his plan. It's what he wants. So God has two wills or one will. And Calvinists deal with this issue. And I've heard it a million times. It gets into philosophy and all sorts of stuff mixed in with it. But
so the contradiction that we had here earlier is, he even laid it out and said, nothing can happen outside of Allah's will. Allah wants you to believe, and Allah wants you to choose whether you believe or don't believe. The issue is, if you bring in the fourth point here, that would be, if I can choose whether I want to believe or disbelieve, then I can also choose to disbelieve, which is something that Allah does not want. But according to the first premise, nothing can happen outside of what Allah wants,
right?
Which is illogical.
This gets into that two will thing I was trying to tell you about, and this isn't. It's people try to make it biblical, but it's like God wanted Pharaoh, for example, to let Israel go right out of Egypt. But then God hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he wouldn't let his people go. Does God want him to let him go? Well, he says to tell them that God said, let my people go. And then he hardens Pharaoh's heart. Does he want it or not? And this is the problem we find. It's so, it's an age-old question. Mr. Morpheus, Sahih Bukhari, Volume 8, Book 77, number 611. In the argument with Adam and Moses, Adam says, do you blame me for action which Allah had written in my fate 40 years before my creation?
Yeah, there is actually a hadith which poses this very question. I'm not sure how the hadith continues, but not in a very conclusive, great way. But it's actually an issue that is brought up, most probably because people in Muhammad's environment bring the same objection, and Muhammad doesn't really know how to answer it. So I think the character in the story says Adam says to him, "Why do you blame me for things that Allah decreed for me long before my creation?" And then he's actually praised for that statement, or he's actually praised for for saying that. But the issue is never resolved. It's a weird problem.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Why so religious? Thank you for the super chat, and Mr. Morpheus for the previous one. Islam's free will problem. Abu Lahab was condemned. I hope I'm saying that right. Was condemned to hell in eternal Quran. Muslims say he could choose to be Muslim. That means Allah could have been wrong. Claiming Allah could be wrong is heresy.
Yeah, there is a character in the Quran called Abu Lahab who lived in Muhammad's time and who really didn't like Muhammad's preachings. And the Quran, a specific Quran chapter at the end of the Quran, is specifically dedicated to him, and says, cursed be Abu Lahab, and may his hands dry, and his wife too, and they will go to hell, and a rope will be around their necks or something like that. It's a very short chapter, but the point is basically that in Allah's eternal book, the Quran, this chapter is included in which it clearly condemns this one individual and his wife and sends them to eternal hellfire forever with torture. So in Allah's eternal book, somebody whom Allah creates has already been condemned to hellfire, which would mean that this person never had a choice to go outside of that and to go to heaven instead. Of course, now you could argue that Allah knew everything long before existence, so he knew that this person with his free will would make the wrong choice and thereby end in hellfire, and you could somehow try to solve that. But that again would bring the objection, isn't it Allah himself who in the very beginning created him with that will, with that intention, with that brain, with his personality, with his life to begin with? Didn't he then create and design him to make that wrong choice and to go to hell?
I have a real hard time swallowing this pill of the all-knowing everything and yet still creating a hell and yet knowing you're going there and yet wants you to believe. That just and I'm a primate on this little ball we call Earth, and the way it's described is Allah is undescribable, beyond my comprehension, and it just seems to be this dilemma is so obvious to me.
I'm sorry, if I was Allah, if I was God, if only I exist, I want to create beings for some messed up reason who worship me and serve me and who want to, I don't know, experience the glory of life. And I'm so good that I only want to give them goodness. I would create beings who will only get goodness. If I want to give them free will, if that is the excuse, free will is so fantastic, so great, I want to give them free will. But unfortunately, as a result of free will, some of them will have to go to hell. Well, I would probably conclude, wait a minute, then if I create free will, then a certain aspect of free will is so horrible that I hate it. I hate disbelief. I hate suffering. I hate pain. I hate punishment. But I create free will, and a side effect of that is this eternal suffering, this eternal punishment, this eternal thing that I hate, but I create it anyway, despite the fact that I could have simply gone on without that, maybe realizing in my eternal goodness and perfection that this is probably a bad idea. But instead, I'm like, oh, well, I just have to deal with that, I guess. I'm God, I'm almighty, but I guess I have to deal with the side effects of this issue. So I just do it.
Thank you. Battler, Urasharamaya. I don't even know how to pronounce your last name there. Thank you. Hi, AP. Had a misfortune of watching Dawa channels. Many of the people on these channels are foreign-born Muslims who have clearly read Islam. Why were you able to break through your dogma, but not them? And then I'm going to get to some callers, so everybody's been waiting. I'm just hitting the super chats like I promised I would.
I can't really say. I mean, I would say it's simply a result of a series of events that resulted in me getting out of that. If things had gone differently in my life, if I had been born into a different family, if I had a different life, maybe things would have gone differently and I would still be a religious Muslim. I'm not sure. I mean, it's just hard to say. People simply, it's very easy for me to say their beliefs are absurd and wrong from where I stand right now, because to me, with the cognitive biases that I hold right now, it seems like, of course, this is what makes so much sense. My atheism, my rejection of Islam, my rejection of this and that is the most reasonable thing. I mean, it's of course, this is the most amazing thing, but this is only what I think right now because of my cognitive biases that I have. People in that fold will think just as greatly, just as great about their own beliefs. It will also think, of course, Allah is the real, creator of everything. Of course, Islam is true. How could people be stupid enough not to see that? And they think they're just as confident as I am. This is just life.
Wow. Naomi, thanks for that super chat. Seems like forever since you've streamed. Happy to see you guys back with these discussions. Happy late New Year. Thank you so much, my friend. Just scrolling down, making sure I hit everybody here. Mabarak, thank you. The sixth pillar of Imam is, I think Islam is what he meant, is belief in the Qada? How do you predestination?
Qada and Qadr. It's one of the pillars of Islam is one of the articles of faith of Islam. The last one usually cited is the belief in predestination and free will. That or in design and predestination. Honestly, that is actually what it is. It's not free will. I'm sorry. It's design and destiny, design and predestination. That's what it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. I'm getting the terms wrong right now. But that is the actual article, the actual pillar.
Thank you. All right, we're bringing you on, questioner. I apologize for such a long wait, my friend. Thank you for joining.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Assalamu alaikum. I want to respond to the points that Apostate Prophet made because they seem to be a misunderstanding of traditional Islamic theology. So with regard, I'm going to address points, not like how you made them from the first to the last. So you started with saying that just because Allah wills something to occur, therefore the person is compelled to do so. No, in Islam, we believe that there is a distinction between will and command. So something is morally justified and someone becomes morally responsible when he goes against the command. So your disbelief is not commanded by God, it is willed by God on the basis of your own choices. The choice, which is the second response to another objection, is not a genuine existent object, so it does not fall under the scope of divine knowledge. You could define choice as, and I'm going to give an example. Ibn Humam responded to an objection which you also made. He said, a choice does not fall under the scope of divine power because it's not an object. He gave an example. He said, I have the desire to drink water. I choose to drink it and then take a glass of water and perform the action. My choice is a relational matter between my desire to drink water and the act of drinking it. Relations are not things and they have no definite existence. So there's no problem here. God did not create our choices. So we can still maintain free will. We just mean something else with free will because we believe that God is the efficient cause of every event, so of all actions. We acquire the action and he creates the action. So acquiring makes us responsible and creation is just the fulfillment. So there's a co-cause here.
You want to respond to that? I had 1 minute left just in case, but yeah, feel free to have a conversation.
I will actually wrote a whole thing about this
thank you for coming.
Back to that.
Thanks for waiting, questioner. I appreciate
it.
Thank
you so much, Christian. I really appreciate the objections and the arguments. Now, here's the issue. I never said that Allah's command, do this and do that, and Allah's will are the same thing. That would be absurd of me to claim. What I did say is Allah wants something to happen and then it happens. That is the general view. Allah wills something to happen or wants something to happen. You only say wills because you don't say wants, because that's how it came into the language. Allah wills something to happen and then it happens. Nothing happens outside of Allah's decree. Nothing happens unless Allah wills it to happen. The Quran also says it is not for a soul to believe unless Allah wants them to believe. So everything is precisely only a result of what Allah wills to happen. There is nothing that I could possibly do which I could do outside of Allah's will. If He did not want me to do a specific thing, I could not do that specific thing, because what I would do would be outside of Allah's will, would be outside of Allah's decree. These are the same things. This is what Allah does. He designs and He decides and He predestines. That is the Islamic view. This is the traditional Islamic view.
Yeah, so the object of will is existent, but since we have established that the choice does not exist, it does not pose a problem for Allah,
let's come to that.
For Allah to will the events.
Okay, let's come to that. You say, I desire something, I then choose to do that certain thing, and you say these do not definitely exist, so they were not therefore created.
The desire does exist, and the desire does exist, and the event of, for example, drinking water also exists, but the choice is what is between them. So my desire to drink, in relation to drinking itself, when I then choose to drink, that is just a relational thing. It has no definite existence. I cannot define it as object. That is what makes me responsible.
Well, it doesn't. You are simply defining it in such a way that
It cannot be defined because it's not an object.
Here is the issue. You say you're speaking of a choice, which is something here that is not really that cannot be defined because it's not really there.
It's not a genuine object.
I have a desire. Okay, that desire was created by Allah. It is a result of the creation of Allah. It was not created by me. I have an act of drinking a certain thing. This act was created by Allah.
Yes, I agree.
The choice that you are talking about is merely a result of me acting upon my desire.
No, the choice does not result from the desire. The desire just gives you motivation to choose. So basically, the desire gives you motivation to perform an action, and what is in between performing the action and desire is the choice. And that itself has no definite existence, so it does not fall under
I act.
divine power.
I act.
Yeah, that action is created by God.
Let's say here in this little cup here there is wine, and in my hand here there is water. Okay, I have the desire to really drink this wine right now. What I do is I look at this. The desire to drink wine makes more sense in my head, which functions only by the decree and the perfect design of Allah 100%. So in my head, I come to the decision, I will drink this water. You know, I weigh the pros and cons. I will drink this water, this wine. Sorry. So I go ahead and drink the act of drinking
God creates
wine.
Desires.
So Allah creates the desire. Allah creates every matter, everything that goes on in my head, 100% of it.
So basically what causes you to choose, so basically what causes you to act upon that desire is itself not a created thing. It's not a genuine object. And you were trying to put the cause of your action to be the desire, but that's not true. That's just something that...
Why do I choose to drink the wine?
Between the act and the desire is the choice, and that has no existence.
What is the cause of me drinking the wine?
So the action, that is God.
Okay, but what is the cause of me choosing to drink the wine?
So you find in yourself motivations to act, to drink the wine. And so that what is in between drinking the wine and like having motivation to drink the wine or desire, that is the choice.
I understand.
And God then creates the event of drinking the wine.
Okay, I understand. But where do I find that within me?
Well, it can because through everything. So because of your environment, I believe that God creates these desires in you.
Okay, you said because of my environment. What else?
Yeah, and God.
So how does my choice come into existence? What does my choice depend on?
Choice has no existence.
You said the choice is something that is up to me. So I choose, and for that choice, I am then rewarded.
But the choice has no existence.
Okay, I understand that. But you are saying
that is basically the problem you need to address. If you cannot address that, then you have not demonstrated that you have a free will.
Can we please get to this? You say I am rewarded or punished depending on my choice, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why do I make a certain choice?
That is because you find the good reasons in yourself to choose something, and that choosing something does not exist. So you need to demonstrate that it exists.
Where do I find those?
To have a problem. What?
Okay, where do I find that? Why do I make that choice? That's what I'm asking.
Well, that is purely subjective. That depends on the person.
That doesn't make any sense. Where do I find the motivation? You said you find it within you. Where do I find that? What do you mean by within?
Your thoughts. You find the motivation to act upon the desire. But that motivation has that motivation just that motivation causes you to choose. But
where are my thoughts?
What?
Where are my thoughts?
In your mind? What?
In my mind. Where's my mind?
Well, I'm not familiar with philosophy of mind, but I would say just in your brain.
It's in my brain, yeah. So it's an extension of my brain. It is what my brain does.
Yeah.
And whose creation is the brain 100%?
God's creation, of course.
So Allah created 100% perfectly designed my brain.
Yeah, he did.
and my brain functions and brings forth the mind. In this mind, I make certain choices with the thoughts that I have, which are 100% part of that brain, and
Yes,
come
so
to the
acting
choice of
upon
drinking the wine. So that would mean that that my choice of drinking the wine is merely the result of what my brain does. So my brain
no,
is
so you
responsible for what
see,
my
so
mind
you have
does,
good
which
reason.
was 100%. Okay, I know I have good
Yeah,
reason,
but you're saying that there's a causal relationship between motivations and the choice. No, there's not. I am saying that
that's what you just
see
said.
a good choice, you see a good motivation, and choosing demotivation, acting upon your desire, that is the choice.
Okay, but didn't I just ask you why I make a certain choice? And you told me
But
that
that's not relevant to the question of whether your
of
choice
course
is
it
free.
is. Of
No, it
course
is
it is.
not. I
Of
said,
course it is.
how is that
The
relevant to the
choice
question
must
whether
be,
your choice is free or not?
that would mean I am basically nothing.
Why
I'm
you
asking
choose
you,
one
I'm
choice over
asking you,
another choice is because of you. Because of
I know,
you,
okay,
it's purely
okay,
free,
you're
which
not
I
talking to me.
demonstrated.
You're not talking to me. We are talking about the choice. I ask you why I make a certain choice. You told me at first because of my environment, and then you said because of certain things that you find within you. I asked you where I
Yeah, so
find
your
those.
environment
Okay,
causes
I
you
asked
to
you.
have
Okay, I
certain
asked you where I.
motivation.
Can you please let me speak? I asked you where I find those. You said in your thoughts. I asked you where my thoughts are. You said in your mind. I asked you where my mind is, and you said in your brain. So what you said, you just told me. I asked you, and you just told me that my choice is a result of this chain
No,
of
that's
things.
not what I said. I even denied that. I said there is no causal relationship between the motivation or the thought and the choice. I
Okay,
am saying you have thoughts and the motivate that what results from it basically, you have two thoughts in your mind and you see a good reason to do one thing over another thing, and when you want to do that thing, that is the choice. It has nothing, so the thought itself is not the causal,
okay.
it
Why
has
do I
no
make that
causal
choice?
relation to your action, your choice. So your thought is connected to your choice,
I understand, but
and your choice
I'm
is
asking you a
connected
simple
to the
question.
bodily events.
But I have been just wanting to get to a certain point. I'm
Yeah,
just
but
asking
your
you a simple
point is
question.
irrelevant to whether your choice is
It's
free or not.
of course it's not
You're
irrelevant.
completely going off topic.
Okay, can you please answer my question then? Can you please answer my question and
Well,
explain to me why that's irrelevant?
if it's
Okay,
not related to the question of whether you are freely
can you
choosing,
please let me
no.
speak? Can you please
Okay,
let
go
me
on.
speak? Why do I make a certain choice?
I don't know. I'm sorry. Because
You
you
don't
find
know.
good reasons to do one thing above another thing.
So you just denied that there is no factor behind me
Well, why
making
you
a
make a
choice.
choice is
But
purely subjective. I don't know why you make a choice, but I already explained
it
that you
doesn't
find good
it
reasons to
doesn't
do one
matter.
thing over another thing, and when you have the motivation to do that one thing over another thing, that is the choice, and we have established that it has no definite existence. Therefore, it's free.
You just give a perfect response. You said you don't know. Everything else that you said outside of that.
Well, I
I'm
was
sorry,
talking
was
about
gibberish.
you. I was talking about you as an individual. You're not paying attention to the
Okay,
response.
we're not talking
Your
about
free
me.
will argument falls apart because you're not
Questioner,
understanding.
you're not listening to my question. You're not listening to me, okay? You're not listening to me. I'm asking you a very simple thing. I'm not talking about me specifically. I'm not talking about a certain choice. I'm
Well, then
talking about.
I answered because you have a
God,
certain
can you please let me
motivation
speak?
to
Can you
do
please
one
let me
thing above
speak?
another.
Can we please, Derek? Can you please
Yeah,
mute?
look,
I need to
I mean,
speak to get
okay,
something
go
right.
ahead, go ahead. You
Can
really
you please mute? Okay, I
go
need
ahead,
to
go
speak.
ahead.
Can you please let me speak? We're not talking about me. We're not talking about a specific person. We're not talking about a specific choice. If you want to have a conversation, engage with the person that you're talking to. I'm asking a very simple question. We're talking about choice in general, not a specific person, not a specific choice. A choice. Why does one make a choice? Please answer the question.
All right.
Because one finds good reasons to do one thing above another thing. Now,
Good.
for
Good.
that person,
Please mute.
it to be a
Please
good
mute
reason.
again.
That is the
Please mute
choice.
again. Please mute
Okay.
again. Next question. So you said one makes
One
a
question
choice.
at a time.
One makes a choice because one finds reason to make that choice. Where does one find reason to make that choice? Please.
Well, that is the choice. One has two alternatives, And when one desires to do one thing above another thing, it has reasons. That is the choice itself. It's that's not something external to the choice. That
You're
is
saying
the
I'm
choice
making a
itself.
choice because I'm making a choice. That doesn't make any sense. I'm asking you a question. Where do
No,
the
so
where
when
choice
you
comes
find
from?
a
Why
so
does one
when
make
you
a
find
choice?
so I'm saying that the desire, so the desire to do one thing above another thing causes you to do one thing above another thing. That is what a choice is.
Okay, so the desire causes me to choose one thing over the other.
Yeah,
Right?
and your desire makes you responsible.
Okay, my desire makes me responsible. Who created the desire?
So I mean the choice, which you have desires and you choose then from your desires, and that's what makes you responsible.
That doesn't make
I'm
any
getting
sense.
confused by your question because
You're
you're
saying that my
trying to
desire
use choice
you're
as some
saying that
kind
my
of creation.
desire causes my choice, but then you were saying that I
No, I
choose a
retract
specific
that
desire.
because
That's a
I
circle.
got confused. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Okay.
So
Well,
repeat it.
at least we were getting somewhere. But
Yeah, because
why do I
no,
make a
we're not
choice?
getting
Why does
somewhere.
one
I'm
make a choice? I
saying
don't
that I
understand.
retract the statement because I did not really formulate that well. I was
I'm sorry.
saying that.
Okay. Let's get it. I'm sorry. You have not answered the question. You haven't
Well,
not
I
told
did
me so
answer the
far.
question. You were just going off topic to questions that are not related to whether choice is created or not.
Yes, we were, because the point here is that that Allah punishes me or rewards me because of a choice. That's
To
the
put it,
entire point.
yeah, and
That's the
you're right.
entire point
But
of this
choice is
conversation.
because
That's
you
why you
want to
brought
do
the
something.
objection that the choice is not a thing.
Yeah,
We
but
made
you
so it's
willing to
very
do
clear within the
something
context that we're
relational.
talking. Okay, it's very clear that we're talking about this topic because Allah rewards me or punishes me because I make a choice. But now you're coming and saying, well, that's not relevant because a choice is not really a thing. And I'm asking you, okay, why do I make a choice? Where does a choice come from? What motivates it? You refuse to answer that question. That question is not irrelevant.
Okay,
It is
so what
precisely
motivates it is not the causal relation. So what motivates it does not cause your choice. Okay, it gives you a reason to will something above another thing. Nothing, your will is not caused by that desire. Okay.
Okay, so nothing is the cause of my choice. Is that? I guess that's what we
Because
will.
choices have no existence, which I really prove.
Okay,
And you're
then
not getting the
you
point.
didn't
You're
prove
like
that. So
presenting.
that means I shouldn't be rewarded
You're
or punished for my
presenting my
choice.
position as if I say that choices have existence. I denied that. Therefore, your argument is invalid. It has been refuted.
Well, then that begs a very simple question: why do I choose to drink the wine? Why do I drink the wine? Let's drop the choice. Why do I drink the wine?
Why you drink the wine? Why you have the action? Because you acquired the action by willing it, by choosing it.
Yeah. And why did I choose that?
Because you had good reasons to will it, and that very will has no definite existence. So
Yeah, and that's
what makes
what I
you
asked you about, and
responsible.
you told me that it's irrelevant. And why did I come to that conclusion? Why did I will that? Why did I decide that this is something that is substantiated with good reasoning?
You don't need good reasoning to will something.
I know.
What?
Okay. You just told me that I. What did you
What
say?
I meant
I
with good reasons
I
was
choose to drink the
what I
wine
meant
because
with
I.
good reasons is why for you to you as a person,
Okay,
you
that's
would
what I'm
rather
asking you.
like drink vodka than just like sleep. To
Okay, that's
you.
That's what I'm asking you. Why did I decide to do that?
So why you because it's to you you like to do that. That's
That
why you
doesn't mean
do
it.
it.
Okay, why do I
Well,
like to
that
do
is
that?
why you did it. I'm just answering you.
Why do I like to do that?
I don't know. It's your like personal thing why you like certain things. I cannot
You're missing the point of the question. I'm not asking you what the specific reasons were why I did it. I'm asking you what causes me to like to do that specific thing.
What do you mean with like to do that specific thing?
You
Can you
tell me
please
that I want to drink something because I like it. Okay, but what is liking? Where does that come from?
It's because you want it. You have more options. And when you do it, then you want it. That is what like is the basis for your choice.
What makes me want something?
Depends your habits. You can have a habit to drink
I'm
something.
not asking you about
Well,
specifics.
I'm
I'm asking you
answering
what
you.
makes me want something.
And I'm saying you can have a habit to drink every day cola or something. That is why you choose that.
You're answering the wrong question. I'm not asking you about the specifics of that certain thing. I'm asking you what makes me
What with your
what
question?
What makes me want something? I'm not asking you about the specifics of why I wanted a specific thing. I'm asking you, what makes one want something?
So do you mean like with causal relation?
Yeah, what is the reason behind somebody wanting something?
Then I respond, there is no causal relation for your wanting because it has no existence.
Okay, what makes me want something?
It's
a very simple
something
question.
That it has no causal relation to it, however, motivates you to will something. However, willing something is not causally related to anything because it has no definite existence. Okay?
I'm asking a very simple question.
I am answering that your question is wrong because you're not getting that willing has no causal relation.
You are very badly misapplying logic here. What makes a human want something? This is a question you should be able to answer. If there is nothing behind wanting something, then that would mean that wanting is something that does not that happens for no reason, out of the void. But if I want to do something, if I have a desire,
that is what free will is.
Okay,
there is nothing that causes you to will something except for your will. And
okay, so
let me.
So that means I shouldn't be rewarded or punished.
AP, let me jump in real quick. Just
that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
It sounds to me like free will. Hold on, questioner, real quick. It sounds to me, and we're going in circles now. We really are. But let me just make one point: that free will is outside of God's control. That's what it sounds like to me, because we're making this is its own thing. So God has no control over your free will, which means he's all powerful except over man's free will.
Well,
this seems to be the argument.
Man's free will has no definite existence. God's power is related to some to possible or actual essences, things that can or cannot exist. But it has no existence. It cannot possibly exist. It is not an object.
That doesn't matter. You still need to explain what you still need to explain.
Of everything that apostate. I'm not going to say that.
Listen.
I mean, you don't even have the basic decency to have that respect for me. Why am I supposed to respect what you want to get out of me? I'm asking a very simple question. You have refused to answer that question. You haven't. You cannot explain to me why one wants to do a certain thing. You cannot come with
because one has good reason to do a certain thing. But
okay. You said that. Let's listen to me. You said that.
Sorry.
You said that. One wants to do a certain thing because one has good reasons. The issue is we came to this because you already told me that one has good reasons.
You're basically asking what causes you to will something. I said nothing.
That's why I'm saying. What makes me want something? If I want to drink water, for example, what makes me want to drink water?
So causally, or are you talking about causal relation?
What makes me want to drink water? What is the factor behind me wanting to do something?
Do you mean what is the cause of your choice? Because that seems to be the question, which I answered by saying that choices are not caused because they have no existence.
That doesn't mean anything. You just need to tell me what makes me want something.
Just in other words, what caused your choice? I say nothing because the choice is free. Okay.
That doesn't make any sense.
Okay,
I'm sorry. That doesn't make any sense.
I got 4 callers waiting.
That would mean that there's no cause behind me wanting something. I'm asking you a simple question: why did I want something? If you refuse to answer this question, which means you're refusing to engage with the actual point, maybe because you think you're right about a certain thing, you can't get anywhere.
Presupposing that free will, you're basically presupposing that I hold a position in which choices are caused, which I just denied. You're just
that's like libertarian free will or something, and I didn't know Muslims were
libertarian. I'm sorry. It doesn't even make sense in that regard. I mean, it's the basics of even psychology. It's the basics of if you want to go into neuropsychology, there is something that makes me want a certain thing. If you need to, you need to be able to answer why I want a certain thing.
Yeah, it makes you want a certain thing. It does not cause you to want a certain thing. It gives you good motivations to.
The entire time I have asked you why I want a certain thing, what makes me want a certain thing, and you keep saying there is no causal relation. I'm not asking.
Why does it motivate you?
Yeah, okay, we're not getting anywhere. completely
Yeah.
irrelevant to the point at hand.
Hey, I wanted
Getting an answer
look.
out of this
Thanks
is
for coming
completely-
on, questioner. Maybe again in the future, we'll have you back. All right, we got 4 callers. I want to get through these super chats real quick because there's not a lot of them, and then want to get our callers up here real quick. So Hasib, thank you for the super chat. Quran says Allah says be and it is. It literally says everything happens by His command. Quran 2:117. Either way, He knows the outcome and execute it anyway with His own imposed consequences.
Yeah.
Are you? So this is preaching to the choir for you.
Yeah. I mean, either way, He knows the outcome. The outcome anyway. Yeah. So it's not just the issue is it is not just according to the Quran that Allah knows everything in advance. That's not the only issue here. The Quran makes certain claims and says Allah wants something to happen and it happens. Nothing happens outside of His will, but at the same time it goes around claiming that people choose to disbelieve and people choose to reject Him and so on. Now Muslims try to say, of course it makes sense because the Quran says Allah creates everything and wants everything to happen and only then it happens, but it also says you have a choice. Well, great, okay, it does say that, but that doesn't make sense. That's a contradiction. You can't simply say, no, it's not a contradiction because the Quran says both. Sorry, that's a contradiction. You have to explain this contradiction. According to the Islamic belief, Allah wants things to happen. Everything is 100% of His design. Nothing happens outside of His decree, which means you, the human individual, your brain, your environment, and everything that exists, everything that happens is 100% Allah's creation and design. If you now want to add to that and say, well, Allah also gave you free will, I'm sorry, that makes no sense. That's nonsensical. You cannot say everything is 100% His choice, His decree, His design, plus there's also free will. That's illogical. It makes no sense.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Thank you for that. Gnostic informant. Islam is the true religion because it says so in Arabic. Hellfire, hellfire. Alrighty then. Moving on. Seems like AP's not interested in laughing at my retarded.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. I was reading. It.
I'm being dumb. No, my boy, Neil, Gnostic informant.
Oh yes, I did.
Bikram, thank you so much for the super chat. Her talk is a loop, which doesn't make sense. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Hasib came back. Choice making, desire, decision making is an electrophysiological phenomenon in the brain. In neuroscience, we measure them using EEGs.
Here's the thing. This might also be the problem. Might also be that we're talking about a certain topic while having a completely different understanding of how things work and what the reality of things, is. I study the subject academically, and I see that everything that a human does is a result of certain things that go on in your brain. Whereas somebody else, like this person, for example, does not hold that view, but thinks that everything that you do is a result of, hocus pocus, your soul, or whatever it is. That's not how it works. So everything is a result of certain things that you do in life, which has a long chain of, causes and effects that you can trace forever. If we cannot agree on how the basics of things work, then we cannot agree on having a proper discussion on this. That's the problem.
No, I agree. I agree with you on that. Yeah. Daniel, thank you for that super chat. Either there are reasons for the choices we make, in which case we make choices for these reasons instead of free will, or there are no reasons for choices, in which case it's random, not free will. And does that sound about where you were trying to get at, or?
Choices for these reasons of free will, or there are no reasons for choices. Yeah. So the question that I kept going at was okay, I get it. Choice is not really a thing, but fine. But if we say that I end up drinking a certain thing, what makes me want to drink? What makes me drink that certain thing? Okay, your desire. Okay, what makes me want to desire a certain thing? Well, you have reasons. Okay, what makes me hold those reasons? So this goes back to you have a certain choice. You must be able to make a choice somewhere within this creation. If you make a choice, then you have made something that is outside of an eternal decree, outside of an eternal design, that you have added to the creation as it is. That would mean that this is in conflict with within the predestination, the decree of an almighty being. It is simply in conflict with that. You cannot have it both ways. You cannot have it 100% designed and somehow also with free will. It simply doesn't work.
Sorry, my brother's calling me on Facebook.
Tell him to stop.
Follow me. Thank you for the super chat. If everything is God's will, how do we have free will? Chaitanya Charan. I hope I'm saying that right. Search this on YouTube. This is amazingly explained. Thank you for that super chat, my friend. Almost caught up. And then I've got callers. Joshua Daniel, one might ask, what are the mechanisms of desire?
Yeah, that's just an endless discussion that we could get nowhere with if we have people who have a completely different understanding of what a mind is. I was actually surprised when I asked. The response that I got was that the mind is, I don't know, I guess in the brain. That's what was given as a response. And I thought, oh, okay, that's good. That's good. We're getting somewhere with that.
Right.
But then we didn't actually get anywhere.
No, I figured then it was like free will comes up out of nowhere. Almost like it's not really free, like it just happens. Like you don't even have control over the fact that it just comes up.
Yeah.
Jerry Penna, thank you for the super chat. Has AP heard of J. Smith and his idea that there's no Mecca during Muhammad's time? There's no physical evidence for a real Mecca in 700s?
There is no evidence for Mecca. Mecca was only mentioned after the growth of Islam. The Kaaba was only mentioned after that. So it's really hard to point at a historical Mecca and a historical Kaaba. The issue is some people will then say Mecca did not exist, the Kaaba did not exist, it was all created later.
Mm-hmm.
But those are just hypotheses that go into all kinds of different directions. But yeah, I've heard of J. Smith's arguments.
Yeah, I'm typically, I'm in the vein of the academics on this one, and I'm talking to some of these people. So last one, Mr. Monster, why did God let me choose the wrong choice and then punish me for being skeptical?
He did not even let you choose the wrong choice. He made you choose the wrong choice. I'm sorry, he made you do it. If he is the perfect designer who designs your mind and everything that exists around you perfectly, and what we know by now is that a human's personality, a human's choices are vastly determined by genetics and the environment. These are things that are outside of your control, decreed, designed by Allah. If we accept Islam as true, Allah completely decreed and designed everything that will happen long before he created you. It's his choice. It can't be my choice. I can't be punished for that and be blamed for it.
Okay, so I'm going to ask, we're going to bring on a caller here in just a second. AP, how do we make sure that we can get from this caller to the next three in line? Because MD1's next. But I am not trying to interrupt you, my brother. I'm just trying to make sure that other people can join. So somehow we've got to be responsible with the time here. You know what I mean?
We could do is you could let them ask for 2 minutes. Then you could let me answer for 2 minutes or 1 minute, and then we could just move on like that. No direct open conversation, because then it just derails and gets.
Yeah. So I'll give them 2 minutes, and that's what we'll do, and then I'll allow you to respond. Do we keep them on, or do we say thank you and keep them on, let them respond one more time?
Depends. We can.
All right, you pull the plug, but it's up to you. I just want to get everybody an opportunity, and we really should have come into this a bit more organized. But
yeah,
listen, I had spontaneous free will with no chain of reaction as to how this became what it is, and so. Thank you for your efforts, Antipode. I hope I'm saying that right. And Mr. Evac, AP has no free will in Islam. Allah has sealed their hearts, and their hearing and their sight is covered. Quran 2:7.
It does say that. It also says Allah guides and misguides whom he wills. Apparently, he didn't want to guide me, but
okay, here we go. I thank everybody for all the support. MD1, finally, I apologize. Thank you so much for joining us here at Myth Vision.
Hey, Derek, I'm Ridwan. It's nice to meet you. I just wanted to say that I'm an ex-Muslim. Just a couple of days ago, I left Islam.
Wow.
I ended up doing this because I compared the Alexander the Great story to the Syriac legend, and what I saw in the Syriac legend was it described the fetid or murky waters of Oceanus. Okay,
yeah.
So I Wikipedia'd Oceanus. And then in it says Oceanus has been referred to as the Black Sea. Okay. So when I looked up this Oceanus, it's actually an ocean that spans the entire Earth, around the entire edge of the Earth, and beyond that is like Hades, okay, in the West. So accidentally, the Quran has ended up copying Homeric cosmology by accident into the Quran. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. If you just Google, and then Cimmerians, right, Herodotus, these were people that lived beyond the Black Sea. These were people that lived on the west where the sun sets, okay? The Cimmerians, if you just Wikipedia it now, you can see this cosmology was understood by the ancient Greeks to be the place of the sun settings. Oceanus is the Black Sea. And these Cimmerians were related to the Huns and the Alans. And these are the people that Alexander was said to have sealed behind the Iron Gate between the Black Sea, which is the fetid ocean, Oceanus, that is at the edge of the western flat Earth. And it's mind-blowing that this hasn't come out yet. If you do Oceanus,
there's a lot of work that is being done around that. It's it needs more attention, needs further attention. It's very nice, very good. We did want to talk to Muslims though, so
yeah, that was your time was wrapping up anyway. Thank you for the good news. I'm glad that you're figuring things out. Yeah,
no worries.
Email me, my friend. I'd be interested in seeing your sources.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, next was the Farouz. Welcome to Myth Vision, my friend.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So you got 2 minutes, my friend, and then because you see what happened earlier. It just keeps going.
You're driving. Are you safe?
Yeah, I'm almost home. But and I also have a car that has partial self-driving mode, which is not on at the moment, but I had it on earlier. So quick question. So I've been watching your videos for a couple of years, and I've seen some of your posts. And there was a couple posts. One said that there was a question, and it said no Muslim is willing to come on the show to answer the question. So I had sent an email to the address that was given to me. I don't want to say it on the air. And then there was a second post which said that, no Muslim is, I'm paraphrasing, so forgive me if I'm not word for word. No Muslim is willing to come on your show one-on-one and have a polite, respectful dialogue regarding Islam. And I replied to the post and said, I'm willing to. So my question is, first, did you not receive that? One, but if you did, is there a certain type of Muslim that you're only interested in speaking to, or a certain type of Muslim you're not interested in speaking to, or is it based upon how famous or how many subscribers, etc.? So that's my question.
Thank you so much. Not sure if I directly said no Muslim is willing to come on here to talk. If I said that in such a way, that's pretty bad. But I would say I was usually, when I make posts like that, I might usually go for people who have some audience, or people who are known for their for their message, for their apologetics, for their preaching, for their dawah, whatever it is, and whatever you may call it. If I get messages from certain people that don't seem to have anything attached to them, no online profile or anything, I might ignore them, because I don't know what it is, what I will expect, whether the person will be genuine and having a proper conversation and all that. So I just it's kind of stressful in that regard. I'm not sure if I received anything specifically from you. I'm terrible with my emails, to be very honest. But if you want to have a conversation about a certain thing, I would be open to that. Do you have a YouTube channel or something?
Yeah, I have a small YouTube channel. It's called Experience Islam with the Farouz. And I have disagreed with you on a couple issues on thing, but in my disagreements, I've never made any personal attacks.
Thank you for that.
On you. Like I've just, so there was a video, for example, you, David Wood, and Sajid Lippum going back and forth, and I gave a critique on all three of your positions, but I didn't, and I made it clear in it that I'm not going to critique everything that every single one of you says, only things that I believe are factually inaccurate. But if it's an interpretation of the facts, you're all welcome to your own interpretation of the facts.
Okay. May I quickly ask, are you a regular, are you a Sunni Muslim, or do you consider yourself Ahlul Sunnah and all that, or?
Yeah, a Sunni Muslim. Yeah, I would consider myself a Sunni Muslim. Seeing though that, my background is more in usul al-fiqh, like the epistemology of Islam and the epistemology of law, it causes you to really study every issue on a comparative level. And so when you do that, it's kind of like, all right, I can see why, Derek's right about this, but Apostate Prophet is right about that. But
okay, how about let's do sorry, I'm really trying to cut it short because Derek told me we need to hurry up. But I would like to talk to you first. So if you would send me a message again right at this time, I would be able to check it immediately after this show and reply to you, get in touch, and we can have a conversation. I mean, I'm totally open to it.
Thank you for is it the Farouz? Thank you so much for calling in, man, and thanks for waiting. I know, the endless predestination free will debate. Drive safe, my friend, please, and he'll be looking forward to your message.
I just pulled in. Last time I waited and you missed me. I think it was when Abdullah Samir was on.
I didn't see anything.
In.
Oh, maybe.
I was calling in. I was waiting, and I was like, okay. And I think that I so I was just like, okay, I probably.
Oh, we're losing him.
No, but it'd be nice.
Thank you. And
I would be open to it, definitely.
But message him. We're losing you, my friend. Message him, please. Email him.
Connection.
Okay.
Have a good.
Thank you so much.
All right. So a couple super chats. Then bringing on Harry Potter in the chat. Next will be Madam Speaker. So Alan Bird says, "Can there be free will? Without science or without choice? What am I talking about? I'm reading words that aren't even there. Can there be free will without choice? If choice is non-existent, then free will is non-existent. If there's no free will, God determines everything."
Yeah. So the whole, I'm sorry to say this, the whole suggestion there that there's no cause behind that, it just doesn't make sense. It's incoherent. If you have free will, then you must be able to make a choice, and the choice must be able to be motivated by something. You're not a ghost that exists in a void that is simply a being of choice of doing this and doing that and being responsible for that without any motivator behind that. There is something behind it, and you need to explain to me what that is. And the question is actually very simple. The answer should also be very simple. But I mean, we've said a lot about it.
Okay. Thank you, Alan. I'm just catching up.
Thank you.
Hey, did you know I hit 40,000 subs this morning? I hit 40,000 subs.
Why would anyone subscribe to your channel?
I know. I was thinking the same thing, because they don't have free will.
Wow. Okay,
no, they knew where they were going. All right. So Harry Potter, welcome to Myth Vision, my friend. Thank you so much for waiting. Goodness, you've been waiting forever. So
Harry Potter, that's good.
2 minutes is starting now.
Okay, how can we when Allah created us, He knew that He was making some people who will go to hell and some people who will go to heaven. So why did He create the people who will go to hell, who will disobey Him and will go to hell? Because He doesn't like the people who disobey Him. So why did He create the people who He doesn't like? Because He wanted to. Why did He want to create people like that? We don't know. Okay, so that's about it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. You want to respond to that, AP?
I'm confused. So well, no, thank you, Harry Potter. So what you're saying is you are defending the position, and you're saying if Allah doesn't want people to go to hell, why does he create people who go to hell? Because he doesn't like people who disobey him. Why does he then create people who disobey him? We don't know. So was that the conclusion? Did I get that right?
Yes, he created. He just doing all of this because he wanted to. It's not necessary that our morality, our concept of innocent and our concept of innocence and all this does not coincide with his morality. So yes.
Okay, the issue is this is not a moral point. This is not a moral argument. Okay, so you would be getting at something if we were making a moral objection here, and if I was saying, hey, it is morally wrong, or it is evil, it is bad of God to do this, or of Allah to do this. The issue is that's not what we are arguing. What we are arguing is that it is illogical. Well, it doesn't make sense. If Allah creates beings exactly as he wants to create them, if he designs everything, and if he wants people to obey him and to go to heaven, then why would he create beings that he knows from the very beginning will go to hell? And the point is not only that he knows that they will go to hell, he precisely designs and creates them in such a way that they will eventually end up in hell. So he basically creates people for hell. And why would he do that if he wants to only create people who obey him? And then why is it claimed that everything is his creation? He creates people like that, but it is also claimed at the same time that we somehow have a choice. If it is Allah's creation and his design 100%, then where exactly is our choice? Why would we be punished for something that Allah himself has created? There are many problems involved here.
So I'm gonna have to end this one. We've done this a lot. Thanks for coming on, Harry Potter. I thank you for being patient to come on, my friend. You have a wonderful day. Okay, Madam Speaker, thank you for waiting. I'm trying to get through. I hate to have everybody waiting, but welcome to Myth Vision.
Hello, Harry. How are you?
Hello.
Good. How are
you? Yes. I'm great. Thanks, AP. I'm great. Thank you. Well, first of all, I'd like to greet everybody in the name of Allah, my Lord, and your Lord. And what I want to say is I want to thank everybody else I want to thank you basically for allowing me to come onto the show and have a conversation with AP. I've been watching his videos for, I don't know for how long, and I am a Muslim. I believe in Allah. And what I want to say, specifically pertaining to the discussion that you guys are actually holding today, is that I realize on the discussions, particularly on the chat room, that people are actually getting bored by the going back and forth with it with the AP and the callers. And I think, it just gets to a point where one has to draw a line. Do you get what I mean?
Can we draw that line? Where do we go with that? What do you have to say about it?
Okay, what I have to say.
We got 1 minute left, Madam Speaker.
Okay. What I want to say is, at the end of the day, the will of Allah and the will of human beings are two completely different phenomena. We cannot fully grasp or understand the will of Allah according to our own understanding because it is beyond our comprehension. So I do not want to waste any time by arguing with disbelievers about the will of Allah because I cannot understand it myself. But as a believer, I believe that Allah has will and he has willed a lot of things to happen and everything is happening by his will. And I feel like arguing back and forth about the will of Allah is not going to take us anywhere. And I'm of the view that, the discussion of the will of Allah with disbelievers, we should actually leave it to Allah and them. Because at the end of the day, we as Muslims do not really have answers for the questions that disbelievers like AP are usually asking pertaining to the will of Allah. And I draw a line by saying that, at the end of the day, let's leave this matter to Allah and Apostate Prophet, or to Allah, between Allah and the disbelievers, rather than us arguing with
That's time.
Okay.
That is time. I'm cutting everybody to a limit for the reason that everything went in circles. So we did fix the problem, though. Just saying. Thank you, Madam Speaker. If you don't mind, I'm going to drop her and let you respond. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The issue is that she basically said we're wasting time talking about this and people are getting bored, and then she just went back and offered her own position to the argument again. I don't understand. But the problem is, I'm sorry, but that's a very bad point. I appreciate her honesty in saying, hey, we don't know, so let's just stop talking about it. But that is very bad. I mean, that's very poor. Islam is a religion which preaches and which wants people to believe in it. It tries to convince us to believe in it. The book tries to convince us to believe in it. That's the main message of Islam. It is a message. It is to be spread to the world, and we are supposed to be confronted with believing or disbelieving in it. Believing or disbelieving for rational humans involves being intellectually convinced that a certain thing is true or false. If we now have a problem with Islam, and a problem that is a huge logical problem as the one that we have today, such a logical problem that it apparently cannot be solved, then we can simply say, well, okay, yeah, we don't have a real answer to that. It doesn't make sense, but let's just leave that aside and let's just believe. I'm sorry, that's simply poor. If you want to choose not to talk about that because you think, well, I don't have an answer to that, but I can't have an answer to that because it's just illogical and I can't make sense of it. Allah knows best. Then you can choose to do that. I'm sorry, but I and many others will choose to debate this question because it concerns the question of whether Islam is true or not itself. It is the core of Islam. If the core of Islam doesn't make sense, if it is logically flawed, we need to talk about it and we need to say, therefore, Islam is false.
Thanks for the response. Hello, thanks for that super chat. Says Allah decides everything. So when someone leaves Islam, is it Allah who left Islam himself? Because according to Islam, our actions are His will.
Can I quickly share something, Derek?
Please.
Can I share my screen to just make it?
And let me know when you're ready to bring up the next caller. And I'm doing the 2-minute rule. And it's good that we jumped on this since we have so many callers. It's good that we actually make sure we limit it.
So I made a video a while ago in which I laid it out like this. It was in the Islamic context, just to make it very clear. So the argument is, 1, Islam teaches that Allah is almighty, all-knowing, and the one who creates and decrees everything. 2, Islam claims that Allah gave humans free will and responsibility to choose between belief or disbelief and to be rewarded or punished. 3, for Islam to be true, Allah must have created and decreed everything, and humans must be free to choose between belief and disbelief. If either one of the two is false, then Islam must be false. If Allah created and decreed everything, then humans cannot have free will and cannot be held accountable. If humans have free will and can choose between belief and disbelief, then Allah cannot have decreed everything. It is impossible for both claims to be true at the same time. Therefore, Islam is false. And that's it.
You know, one of the conundrums I have, just bringing up the next caller in just a second, is whether you want to get into the whole minutia of detail of choice and this and that. The big picture is pretty clear. The acceptance that God, literally Allah, is like planned, has hell made, knows who's going, who's not. I think that would be part of their idea. I'm thinking in terms of biblical knowledge, my understanding in what I studied. But like, it is kind of weird that he would make that if he didn't really want that to be the case. It's, well, is hell even a necessary place? Or is hell self-existent and eternal? Or was that created by Allah as well? And then why was that created? For what reason?
Because He wanted it. But He doesn't want things that He hates, but He wanted it anyway, so He just did it. Although He doesn't want it. But nothing happens outside of His will, but He did want to do it. Don't ask me how, it just happens.
No, I know. It's a biblical, it's the same problem biblically. So Elijah, welcome to Myth Vision. Thank you for being patient, and you have 2 minutes.
Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, can you hear?
Yes.
Oh, so I'm a Christian, to be honest, and I just have some questions actually about Islam. AP, is it true that Islam actually rejects, like, they don't actually promote music? Like, because last time I saw this, what's his name? Farid Naik Zakir Naik's son, he was like rapping without beats. First of all, that his beats actually like it actually gave me a headache. Until now, I can still hear his singing. Actually, just now I was listening to his rap. And is it true that rap or anything like it's haram in Islam? Because if it's haram, then why is that?
Well, thank you.
Why did he rap?
Yeah, you're a Christian, you said, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Therefore, we have to reduce your time to 30 seconds instead of 2 minutes.
Yeah. And look, now he asked the question. Thank you, Elijah. No, I'm sorry. I really do want to try and have, it's an interesting question.
It's your channel. It's because of you. It's not me. I don't know.
It's all my fault. Blame me. I created hell, so don't worry.
Elijah, it is Derek's fault. But to your question, yes, in Islam, according to the traditional understanding, music is haram. It's forbidden. But to be precise, it is musical instruments that are haram. I grew up in a religious household where I was not allowed to listen to music. It was considered haram. I was ashamed for that. Many people I know grew up under the same conditions. So that is true. Musical instruments are considered forbidden and haram. It is wrong. But there are some things about that. So you will see religious Muslims nowadays try to make music with strange noises like and things like that with their mouths, and try to imitate the sound of musical instruments, and thereby make music without using instruments and only sing about Islamic stuff. Now, I would say that they are tricking Allah and using their mouths instead of using instruments, and Allah will probably be like, hey, I'm not stupid, I see what you're doing. But yeah, that is indeed a thing.
What? Dude, I don't even know where to begin with you. You're a trip, bro. You're such a trip. I don't even know. You've lost me, bro. All I know is they're trying to make... What are you talking about? Oh,
I'm
man.
only speaking the truth here.
Oh, you're a trip. All right, so... All right, next caller. I don't know much. I know that you're Muslim. So welcome to Myth Vision. You have 2 minutes, my friend. Thank you for waiting.
Happy New Year, Derek. Can you hear me?
Happy New Year, my friend.
I was just asking. I wanted to know something because I just joined in now and I missed quite a lot. What's the topic? The topic is Islam true? Yeah.
Yes.
Anything okay, you really want to ask? I mean, for Apostate Prophet.
Yeah, he was saying he was. I just joined in, so I don't know much. Like, so he's saying no, it's not true. Islam is not true. Yeah.
Right.
It's false. I say it's false.
Based on what? Do you know what's when you say Islam? Do you mean the basis of Islam, or do you mean all the other stuff like the hadith, washing, and all these things? Which one do you mean? Because there are two types of Islam. If you say the basis of Islam, how can you say the basis are false? Because Islam speaks about one true God, yeah? We agree on that, yeah?
No.
And he speaks, yeah, it does. It says...
Okay, yeah, no, it does, yeah. I just don't agree with that, but okay. Yes, it does, okay.
So what's the problem with that? Where is the contradiction in that?
Is that it?
What
okay,
makes
so
I can reply to you. Just give me a quick...
Okay, so Islam is a religion that has the Quran, it has the Prophet Muhammad, it has a certain message.
No, can you answer my question, please? My question about the theology of Islam, that we all know, everybody is born with the idea that with a conscience and logic to understand.
Okay, I would definitely argue against that. I would definitely argue against that. But is that your point? Is your point that Islam?
This makes my point. This makes Islam true because you cannot. Can you tell me? Can you go back in eternally?
In seconds.
Eternally in the past. Can you go back?
Can you just let him clarify it? Can you please let me know what are you asking? Are you saying Islam? Are you saying?
Hold on, real quick. Let AP.
Are you saying Islam means there is only one God? And how can you say
Islam? No. Islam means Allah means the God, which means the. It means that whatever you, for example, you are born in Africa, yeah. Let's say you don't know anything, but as soon as you get consciousness, you understand that you are a created thing, and you did not exist eternally in the past. This is Islam, a natural understanding of your existence, and this is true. You cannot falsify this one. So how can you say that Islam is
Yeah,
false?
that's
This makes
not
no
what
sense.
Islam is. That's not what Islam is.
So thank you. I don't know. And go ahead, AP.
That's the dumbest thing that I've heard today. I'm sorry to say that, but
that's like fine. I think it sounded. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm trying to get the logic. It's like claiming something we know based on our experience, and we have facts to back up. And then now that that's true, that proves because Islam says something about that. That makes that Islam's true. I don't.
Well, he was saying, what is Islam? And Islam says there's one God, there's one Allah. How can you say this is wrong? Tell me, how can you say this is wrong? You can't tell me that this is wrong. This is why. This is the proof that Islam is true. I mean, what the hell, man? How do you even get to that point? You're saying that Islam makes a claim, which is that Allah, that there is only one God. He was also throwing in that we have this innate belief in the one God. And he was thereby arguing that there is, of course, one God, because we cannot possibly disprove that and explain how we came into existence. Therefore, Islam is true. It's nonsensical. Islam is a religion. The claim of Islam is that Allah is almighty, all-knowing. He created the world. He created humans. He sent books. He sent the Quran. He sent the Prophet Muhammad and many other prophets. He sent a message through them. If you want to be part of Islam, you have to say, I testify that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger, not just there is one God. Otherwise, Jews would also be Muslims, for example. That doesn't make any sense.
Don't you know Jesus was a Muslim? Anyway.
Of course, Jesus was also a Muslim.
Yeah.
So that is what Islam is. Islam is not just there is one God. That is general theism. That is theism, or whatever it is. Yeah, so the whole premise there is completely off. If we want to talk about whether God exists or not, that's a completely different, lengthy discussion where you can't just say, you can't explain it otherwise, therefore God. There are so many discussions about what God is, why God as a concept came into existence, whether there is anything outside of this, whether there is proof for that or not, which there is not, whether it logically makes sense or not, and so on. So
yeah. I don't know much. You do make things interesting, but I must tell you, there's 4 other callers, and I got to get these super chats. So that's why I'm pushing on. Why so religious? If Islam is true, why has Allah misguided scholars into believing that the moon creates its own light? Even Taymiyyah, am I saying that right? Says it create light like sun, fire.
Ibn Taymiyyah, yeah, the Quran describes the moon as a light and the sun as another light, which Allah placed in the sky. It also says that the moon will go dark. It will lose its light on the day of judgment, which doesn't make sense. The moon loses its light all the time because the moon doesn't have light. It merely reflects some light which it receives from the sun. So the whole idea, the eschatological idea that it will lose its light one day is just gibberish. But yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say because Ibn Taymiyyah, the god of Salafi Muslims, made a mistake about the moon, that means that Allah misguides people and he's wrong and all that. That wouldn't be my logic, but sure, I get the point.
Thank you. David the Goliath, did AP ever go to Mecca, Medina? I'm thinking of faking a conversion to see the Hajj cult practices in person. Would be fun to see as an atheist.
I wanted to go. I actually received an offer from my boss when I was still, when I had just left Islam, and he said, "Hey, I want to buy you a trip to Mecca. Let's go together." And I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. And I just came out of Islam and I was very frustrated. Now I feel like maybe I should have taken that. It would have been a good opportunity.
Wow. Thank you for that. All right. Next caller is Mr. Memphis. Welcome to Myth Vision. You have 2 minutes, my friend.
Hello, Mr. Memphis. Hello. 1 2 3 1 2 3.
Hello.
1 2 3 1 2 3.
All right.
ABC,
so Free Will, welcome to Myth Vision.
Hello, Free Will.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up? Please tell me you're Muslim.
I am Muslim. I have a question. I wanted to ask AP about, because earlier he had a conversation with another woman and he asked her how a choice is made. So I wanted to know from AP how a choice is made. How does AP map it all out and how choices are made?
Is that it?
That's it. Thank you for the question, man. All right. So AP, go ahead.
Honestly, I thought he would like to stay back here. And
You want me to? I mean,
is
I
he
just
still
figured
here?
I'd let you. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. So my approach was simply to understand why how choices came into existence, because the claim came from the other side that this is something that apparently has no cause and it happens out of thin air. A choice must be motivated by something, must come from somewhere in order to be to be judged as right or wrong, or to be rewarded or punished. What I would explain choice as is it is simply an act. You choose to do something depending on many different factors: your environment, everything that you know, your current desires, your the dopamine and all the chemicals in your brain that push you to do a certain thing. If you are hungry in the moment or not, if you are really poor with your self-control in the moment or not. These are all things that are motivated in your mind, which is an extension, a function of your brain, which is about you, and apparently supposedly 100% designed by an almighty creator if he designed it, and also motivated by your environment that you are in. So yeah, that's the result of a choice is a result of all that. That's what I would say about it.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. And obviously you can get into, there's some scientists out there that
do you want to get him back though?
Yeah. Sure. Free will, did you want to say something else? I got one more. I got to get the next caller after you're done saying whatever you say.
Are you talking to me?
I am.
Am I on? Okay, I'm on the show. Yeah, okay. So I actually didn't hear anything you said because my reception is so bad. So I'm just gonna have to go back and watch it. I would say that decisions are made. There's two factors. There's you could call it logic, or you could call it fitra, or you could and then the other side is emotional in your desires, and these two wrestle with each other, and depending on which one serves the other one depends on which one ends up becoming the motive force. And that's what you're held accountable for. You're not held accountable for what you are not capable of doing. So it's basically your own choices that you make to yourself about lying to yourself by believing something that because you want to believe it instead of because you know it's true.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, my friend.
It.
Hey, have a good one, man. Be safe. All right.
Again, this would require to explain why a human makes a specific choice. Now, you could say that there is an innate nature within you which presents you certain choices, but you are still left with the whole with understanding what pushes you to choose A over B. Yeah. There must be something behind that. It's not out of thin air. It is a result of the person that you are, who was 100% designed by Allah, according to the Islamic belief. You simply have to explain that. You have to be held responsible somehow. And in order to be held responsible, you have to be an agent in what is happening here in the world. And that must lead back to something which was also created by Allah.
I got to say one comment on this. As an ex-Calvinist Christian, Paul, if you're going to do this, I think these philosophical nuances are dealing with, they see the problem. So they're coming up with these explanations to find a way to save God. God needs to be protected. So we need to make sure that God doesn't have these things. The Apostle Paul, I'm going to give him some credit. When the questioner says, how does he find fault with us then? For who has resisted his will? Romans 9. Paul does not respond and go, well, first of all, there's this cognitive area of choice, that decision, free will. And so technically, let me tell you how complicated this really gets, because no one's really thinking like this but me here. No, he says, who do you think you are, oh man? Dust, you clay? The maker can do with you whatever he wants. And he has certain vessels prepared for glory and others for wrath. He didn't beat around the bush. He said it like it is. You're his creature. You're his creation. He can do with you what he wants. And this is all part of his plan. That's why he made Pharaoh's heart hardened and all yada, yada, yada. He's making this polemic and he's saying, who do you think you are, you human being, answering back to the Almighty God? So I think I just got to give credit to the people who are still stuck in this, or that believe in this, that at least admit and say, you know what? No, God's in full control. Yes. Who do you think you are arguing with him, Apostate Prophet? God does. You know what I mean? So I got to give those people credit.
Yeah, the thing is, even within Islam, this is an issue that has been around forever. You know, within the first centuries of Islam, this is part of Islamic culture, of course, of Islamic history, Islamic theology. They might not represent it completely accurately, but it is known within Islamic studies that there was a huge fight at the beginning, within the first centuries, within the first generations, among people who held a firm deterministic position, and another that said we are completely free, and there were some in between, and then those in between formed the mainstream Muslim theology that exists today. That's how they present it nowadays. It's probably not entirely true. The discussions were probably much worse and much more nuanced than just one side against the other and then we came out right or something like that.
Dude, Judaism went through the same thing. The Essenes were very fate, very deterministic. You had your Sadducees, very free will, almost open theistic. And then you had your Pharisees, which wrestled between free will and determinism. And this is the age-old, keeps happening in the Abrahamic faith idea. So anyway, next caller, Sheikh Mutasim. I hope I'm saying that right. Please forgive me.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Hey.
So I had actually like 2 questions, but I'm not too sure like if you can go back and forth with you guys for a minute.
You got 2 minutes. Try.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to fill you out, man. If you're cool and everything's cool, we'll see. I'll let AP make the decision.
Yeah. Well, one of my questions was gonna be like what you guys were talking about, the decision question and the free will seems pretty interesting. But if that's too lofty for right now, we can talk about some pretty serious stuff. And I think what's big in YouTube like right now is Daniel's debate that happened like a couple of days ago on liberalism, and I was hoping to see if you guys watched it and what's your opinion on it.
Thank you so much for asking. I think everyone is really tired from the whole free will predestination thing. So honestly,
yeah, because like metaphysics gets boring after a while, doesn't it?
Honestly, I haven't really watched the debate between. There's no reason to add the word really. I haven't watched the debate between Adenali Kikuchu and who was it, Destiny. I didn't see it yet. I might watch it at some point.
But like, if you didn't see it, like then I can just take your fresh take on the debate topic. So debate topic was, does liberalism sort of dominate Islamic cultures? So what do you think about this? Does like the narrative that I think you AP is pretty much saying is Islamic narrative dominates all the other cultures. So this debate was, does all Western cultures dominate Islamic cultures? So what's your take on this?
What do you mean by dominate? Is that
by dominate is like imposing liberal values on Muslim societies?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Islam imposes certain values upon their own societies and tries to impose them upon others. Liberalism has been going around. I mean, the liberal West has been going around trying to impose liberal ideas upon the rest of the world. I mean, this is an undeniable fact. We know this. I guess the question would be whether this should be happening or not. Because if we want to debate about whether this is happening, I would say yes, it is happening. It has happened for a long time now.
Yes, it is happening. So do you think that is something that we want, like, or is something that we should not want? Because Daniel gave some really good points about how liberalism is just right now is becoming like a baby with a candy. And sure, a baby wants more candy, and it will never say no to more candy, but it doesn't want the vegetables. Like, I'm just really paraphrasing the whole
I think I heard the same argument from him when he was discussing with Harris Sultan, and
that was not a debate. That was more of a schooling.
Yeah, I don't know. Harris Sultan wasn't really there to debate anyway. He was just there to let him speak, and that was very much done.
Really, you think that's a good idea in a debate to stay quiet? All right, let's not talk about Harris Sultan.
After what I heard, I was shocked to hear what he was affirming. From the West, of course, we're thinking about this. That sounds
sex,
like
slavery, pedophilia. I mean,
like that sounds like backwards, big time thinking.
No, I don't think he was like affirming these things. I think he was just acknowledging why this was done at that time. But let's not talk about it.
He was clearly saying that slavery, including sex slavery, is not only morally good; it is morally necessary. And he also said that there's.
But you made the same thing. You said the same thing, AP.
No, I didn't.
You almost called him Apus.
No, I said AP. Come on, come on.
I never said it is more.
Hey, but you should at least comment me that I held my tongue back. I'm being respectful.
You did. You did.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So what I said about slavery, is that it is historically justified. It is historically completely justifiable. That's what I said.
Yeah.
I also said that before, by the way. People make a big deal out of that apparently, but I said that before my discussion with Daniel Kikichu, I made a video in which I said I'm not criticizing Muhammad for holding slaves in his time because he was in an environment where
but if you had
was a normal thing.
Yeah, but if you had to comment on the Islamic slavery narrative and the West slavery narrative, so it's both bad, and I am not asking you to say which slavery is better. It's like choosing which bad thing is less worse, basically. But I'm saying, even in the Islamic doctrines, slave had rights. If you see the chattel slavery, when slaves were literally shipped in boats, a whole continent just pillaged for labor, and then shipped to all parts of Europe. Islamic slavery was not like this, man.
Well, oranges and apples. The transatlantic slave trade was one that was born from slave trade that already existed within Africa. The Western people merely took advantage of this and said, "Hey, these people are underdeveloped savages. Let's just take them and let them work for us." It had a racial factor to it. It was completely different. Whereas within the Islamic society, the Islamic system, slavery was motivated not by race but rather by religion. The idea was people who do not follow Islam and who are basically fair game, or who are our opponents because they refuse to accept Islam, may be fought and may be enslaved and taken as slaves. And
I would contend with this point because a lot of Christians did exist in Muslim societies. What you are talking about are your opponents in war. And that's what Daniel said about slavery.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You invite people to Islam. By the way, this was not the only way it happened in early Islamic history. It was very common for Muslims to simply attack neighboring peoples and to enslave them. There was no
conquer and conquest was the narrative.
There was no factor of, hey, first come to Islam, otherwise we will enslave you. No, people simply fought and enslaved. That was the norm back then. Mm-hmm. But the system is basically that those who are not Muslims and those who reject Islam, unless they decide to become part of Islam or they decide to become subjects of the Islamic Empire, may be enslaved and can be enslaved. So that was the norm. And of course, there are certain discussions.
And you know why this was so? Because if this didn't happen, then these guys would regroup and attack them again. Right?
I mean, you could argue for that.
So there is a utilitarian point over here that needs to be made, right? For national security.
I said before, in the past, historically, slavery can be justified. If I was a human who lives in 2000 BC, or I don't know, maybe in 500 AD, and I am in a culture where we are constantly warring against each other, I would say, hey, if we defeat those people, let us not let them just go back and live their civilization. Let us take those people and make them subjects.
Okay. I think that's enough for slavery. But sorry to cut you off.
So make one more comment. Yeah. And I do have someone in the chat I want to bring.
This is my final question: is what your take on these liberal values, and do you think can we see liberal values as oppressive in any scenario as you think Islamic values are in certain cases?
Thank you. I'm going to go ahead and take you down.
All right, see ya, guys. You can just move me out.
So much.
Okay, AP, go ahead and respond to that.
I need to pick up my child very soon.
We've been
15 minutes or so. But I didn't think it would last as long. But yes, so is liberalism as oppressive as Islam? Definitely not. I would say, liberalism, I don't necessarily describe myself as a liberal simply because I don't want to,
pigeonhole.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with much of the idea behind liberalism. The main idea is not, as Daniel Kikuchu, for example, tries to make it, that freedom is the absolute good. No, it is that oppression in the past and divisiveness, religious authority, and so on brought revolutions and revolutions and revolutions. The best thing to do for a better future, a more peaceful and productive future, is to allow people to do certain things, not to have a biased authority over them, which exerts their authority very firmly, to give them certain freedoms, because that will avoid getting collapsing society and rebuilding society over and over again. Therefore, in accordance with that, people developed the idea that you should, for example, have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to proselytize, and so on. And I agree with many of the aspects of that. I certainly do not agree that liberalism can be as oppressive as Islam. I think certain things should be oppressed. For example, if an Islamic society comes and says, we want to establish a Sharia within your society, and in that Sharia we want to kill apostates and kill homosexuals and this and that, I think that should be oppressed and suppressed and banned. Insofar, that kind of suppression is good, because it harms people. It does not serve a future in which people are happier and more productive and all that. Insofar, yes, bad things should be suppressed, but oppressing people for their simple beliefs and ideas, which do not aim for massacring entire populations, in that regard, liberalism is definitely not similar.
Thank you. Joshua Daniel, thanks for that super chat. How do our choices, our lack thereof, bring glory to God? That's the real question. Is he lacking anything? I'll give you a quick little 2-second. And one Calvinist tried to explain the whole, if God is actually doing all of this, what's the point? If you're walking down the street, I'm walking past you, and I say, I forgive you, I'm going to show you mercy. You go, for what? I didn't do crap. Okay, well, if you hit me and then I decided to show you mercy, or you did wrong to me, I can show you mercy, or I can be right in punishing you as long as you hit me or you did something wrong. So how do I show my attributes? Well, you have to do something wrong, and then I could show you either mercy or I could show you the bad side, justice. And that's pretty much where they try to get the attributes of God out. As far as lacking anything, I mean, this is a whole nother issue. Is God lacking anything? Do you want to say something on that?
I mean, I just have this is not an argument. This is just a thought that I always have about God creating beings. I mean, the one of the most basic ideas in theistic arguments is God is the most perfect. He's perfect as he is. And I just wonder always, imagine, you can't even imagine perfect. Perfect is without flaws. God exists in his perfection, but then suddenly he decides to pop imperfection into existence and thereby breaks the perfection of everything. It's kind of a weird thought for me. But,
so
yeah.
Zagros, copy and send that the what you did, the super chat, back through so I can at least pull it up. Why so religious? Captured women marriages become annulled rights?
Oh yeah. If in a war Muslims defeat the other side and take them as slaves, then Muslims are supposed to enslave the women and children, and those women who are married to certain, to the opposing side, their marriages are annulled, and they can thereby be taken as female slaves and used for sex by the Muslims. And then still people want to come here and talk about how, at least slaves in Islam have rights. Sorry, that's just bullshit. So.
Zagros asked if you and I were planning on having a stream together with Destiny and T-Jump at some point to discuss the past weekend's debates. I'd love to see you four together. I didn't have any plans on it. I didn't know anything about it, but maybe in the future we can get together. I haven't even watched the debates.
So. Yeah. I supported them and promoted them. I didn't watch anything yet.
If I may, can I get Madam Speaker to say one more thing to you before we just bring her on and then bring her back off as you're leaving?
Yeah.
All right. She's not, you can't join. It's not letting me join you, madam. Okay, there we are. So hi. 20 seconds, please.
Right. All I just want to say is a word of peace between believers and non-believers. AP, I'm a Muslim, but my religion does not mean that I should hate you. I don't hate you. and I love you for the sake of Allah. And I don't believe this thing of fighting with each other just because of our beliefs and just because of your disbelief is going to take us anywhere. I believe that as much as we differ as the human society, I think it is very important for all of us to try and be able to live or to coexist with each other in the name of love, regardless of our religious or spiritual differences. We must learn to understand and to tolerate each other and to love each other beyond what our religions, our different religions teach or preach. Because at the end of the day, we are all the children of Adam according to Islam, and we all descend from Noah. And Allah has prescribed love and understanding and peace to believers. So basically, I feel like as a Muslim, I think I am not really compelled, but I'm expected to love people who disagree with me, people who don't see eye to eye with me, and I'm expected to actually, tolerate them in as much as I tolerate you.
Thank
And I
you
just
so
want
much.
Yeah, and I just want to say, I'd like to apologize for all the Muslims who have treated you badly in the past, because I don't understand how treating a person who disbelieves in Allah badly can actually, change the world. I don't believe in treating each other badly can change the world. I believe that love and tolerance and understanding each other can, help us to coexist with each other. I believe in coexistence and
Don't
acceptance.
apologize for them. Don't apologize
so
for them. I
much.
appreciate it.
Madam,
Yeah.
I got to let you go, but thank you so much because he's got to pick up his kids. And thank you.
Yeah, I want to say thank you so much
Okay,
for the nice words.
Okay. So
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the nice words. But please don't feel the need to apologize for people. You don't have the responsibility or the need to apologize for them. The issue is, I completely agree that this is how the world should be. We should be, in peace and love and tolerance and all that. I would love to see that happen. Unfortunately, that's very far from the truth. She said, "I love you for the sake of Allah." I'm sorry, many Muslims out there will immediately have an issue with that and will say that is unacceptable, it's haram, because according to their beliefs, it is not allowed for them. They are not allowed to love me. They are not allowed, not permitted to love me. It is forbidden for them. They are supposed to love and hate for the sake of Allah. They're supposed to love the believers and hate the disbelievers, especially hate such people like me who disbelieve and openly say it and then also criticize it. The most Muslims that you see online and that you see in debate arenas will completely disagree with her and will say that is impossible. People like me deserve to be killed, deserve to be executed, other people deserve to be executed, we should be ostracized, and so on. So as much as she wants to paint a nice picture of Islam, and as much as she wants love in the world, as much as I agree with that, unfortunately that is very far from how it really is. And I appreciate her sentiments, and I wish we can have such a future, but that's not what we have right now, which is why I need to do what I'm doing.
I want more of her in the world. Like, if you're going to be religious and that kind of faith, I respect the people like that. So are there any Muhammad mythicists, aka are there any scholars that doubt the existence of Muhammad, and have you read any of their materials? And then I'm going to do an outro. I'm sorry everybody in the chat, we don't have time.
Oh, okay. Well, there are some people who say that he may have never existed, that he might be a myth, but that's a very unpopular opinion in academia. It's just I think it's even considered absurd because there's just too much. It doesn't really make sense. And I would say I would humbly agree with that position, that he most likely did exist. But it's hard to describe how he existed and the things that he said and all that. But his existence, I think, is hard to doubt.
Well, everybody, do me a favor, if you would. Go subscribe to Apostate Prophet. We really appreciate him coming on the show. Seriously, subscribe, hit the bell. Let's get him to 400,000 subs. Let's get more attention. Have these conversations. Be friendly with people. Be kind. Join his Patreon for sure. If you want to go to heaven, let me tell you, you need a seventh. You need a seventh one. 6 is a bad number to land on in terms of tiers. You need one right down here, so you have a 7th. But yeah, go support him. Join his Patreon.
Thank you.
Seriously, and you consider joining ours as well. We have tons of material here. I always put out on the Patreon. Seriously, I love you, man. I really do appreciate you. And thanks for reminding me that I have a show to host you as the guest on Myth Vision today.
Well, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I'm very tired. I don't know. It's like I'm just very exhausted, especially from the whole free will predestination.
Oh my God, you were killing me, bro.
My brain is like,
I was like, I'm going to let him have it. Because, you know, I did this for years. I could tell that you're passionate about it because this is a debate you've been into and you're thinking for years, I'm sure. So, yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, I wanted to focus more on Islam itself rather than talk about something as vague and endless as free will and predestination, which is just. But still, I mean, it was an interesting discussion to have, and I really appreciate you doing this. I would love to do this
send
again.
the check. I'll send you the address to send the check to for.
Everyone who is here because of me, don't subscribe to Myth Vision. Terrible channel.
Yeah, now we got a problem. I'm gonna have no. Seriously, everybody down in the chat that was jumping on to join. Thanks for everybody who participated and joined and had friendly conversation. We're ending the show now because he has to go pick up his kids. But please consider calling back whenever I have another ex-Muslim come on to have conversations because I want to have those back and forth. And never forget, we are Myth Vision.